Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to some Muramasa. They're having an interesting time. I wasn't expecting a long-form investigative mystery at the start, and I'm really enjoying it. I mean, I also might just be used to reading visual novels that are mysteries, what with us having read Umineko and Higurashi recently. But I'm sure that's not influencing my opinion of investigative mysteries in any way, shape, or form. Just a happy coincidence. Alright, I haven't seen him today. He'll probably show up any minute though. Alright, thanks. I leave the bar and head back to where Konatsu and Tadayasu are waiting. Officer Minato isn't with them. He isn't here yet. Oh, can't forget the Danganronpa. We also read Danganronpa. I guess we're a little early. Even he's gotta have a job, right?
I
got the impression his job was walking around drinking beer. Pretty sure you can't call that a job. Anyway, where's Officer Minato? He went to check the next street over. Ah, well. People around here are used to shady characters. I'm sure he'll be fine.
Although I
gotta say, in his case, it's less that he's shady and more that his presence makes you worry if the sun will come up tomorrow. That bad? That's harsh, but I can't argue. Really? Is it that bad? We keep chatting for a while, killing time while we wait for Officer Minato to come back. Normally, this isn't the kind of place a couple of students should hang out. It's still early, but the street's full of bars and pubs. Of course, unlike the red light district across the river, these establishments are frequented mostly by factory and construction workers on their way home from the job. They don't have much money, so the bars are small and don't attract a lot of riffraff. Many passerby recognize us and exchange friendly greetings, but not one scolds us for being here. They know this isn't a place where we could get into real trouble. The worst thing that happens here is you get a couple of drunks fighting in the street, otherwise it's totally peaceful. Usually. Don't things seem a little off today?
I know
what you mean. The owners all look kind of anxious, and I feel like there should be more customers, even if it's early. The stores are still closed. It's weird. Could it be? Konatsu turns pale and covers her mouth in disbelief. Officer Minato's aura? No, wait. It can't be that powerful, can it? Now, that's something you can't laugh about. That's an interesting assumption to make. I use my fist to make Tadayasu practice what he's preaching and then scan the area for a distinctive black jacket. Sure, he's got the aura of doom thing going, but even he can't ruin a peaceful day just by being in the vicinity. I think. Instead, I find something else. That's why. What's why? I spotted something that can ruin a peaceful day just by being in the vicinity.
Yuhi?
What? Oh. Tadayasu follows my gaze. Yeah, no explanation necessary. A man is sauntering down the street towards us, dressed in a white suit, bright enough to blind. Behind him are two men in absurdly garish shirts, their stride just as shameless as their leaders, and last, following at a distance, is a rather sickly-looking man of small stature. In all the wide world, only one sort of group can sport such mismatched attire, yet seems so coordinated. This schizophrenic unity is the sort of miracle that makes you want to believe in a god. They're yakuza, Members, perhaps, are of a species slightly separate from our own. If humans throw on a bunch of random clothes and gather together, the result will be a crowd of people who look like they have nothing to do with each other. If a bunch of apes, however, march down the street dressed in haphazard attire, they'll seem a cohesive group. A strange group, but a group nonetheless. The same can be said of these fellows. Perhaps yakuza is not a job description so much as a taxonomic category. I mean, just think about it. They make a living off of other people's misery. They provide no service to society. Indeed, they only work to harm it. How can it be considered a profession? I'd be more inclined to pay a guy to walk around drinking beer. Being a nuisance, therefore, is part of their natural behavior, and by no means a profession of any sort. If you look at it this way, it all makes sense. It's no more unusual for these creatures to shove pedestrians, smell like stale tobacco, and kick cans around for no good reason than it is for a stink bug to fart. That's how you have to look at it. Whatever you do, you mustn't let their antics upset you. As a superior species, it's our duty to observe them with open minds, in the hope we might one day learn something of use to humanity. That's the proper way for intelligent life forms to behave. The end.
何が完結したのかはよくわからないけど、どうする
His
のさ。
whole rant was
こっち
internal,
の方に来るみたいだよ。
and Tadayasu is just like, yo, I don't know what you're talking about ending, but we should probably do something. They're coming this way.
どうもこうもないでしょう。道を避けて脇に寄ってそっぽを向きつつ腹の中でファッキンとか言ったりして通り過ぎるのを待つの。
What can we do? Let's just move to the side of the road, keep our heads down, and think fucking fucks until they're gone. Her words, not mine.
そうだね。
I guess you're right. Sounds like the best course of action to me. The yakuza head into the nearest store and emerge a few minutes later with the owner bowing and scraping behind them. They repeat the process at the next store and the next. They couldn't be more
今日は
obvious.
集金の日だったのか。
Looks like it's collection day, just our luck.
ってことはあれ、乃木山組だな。
Ah, so they're with the Nogiyama
飲
crew.
み山よ、飲み山。
You mean Nomiyama, Kanatsu says disdainfully. That name suits them. Rokuhara are called jackals for their greed. Makes sense then, that the parasites who would live off the jackal scraps would be called Nomi, fleas. The Nogiyama crew is one of many gangs that have struck deals with the Rokuhara. They used to be a small group, but they've grown exponentially since entering the shogunate's service. Now they're the de facto lords of this slice of Kamakura. Backed by Rokuhara's authority, they extort money under the guise of taxation, then give half to their masters and keep half for themselves. Please, indeed.
あー、かゆいか
I'm starting to itch.
僕が書いてあげようか。コナツーン。はあはあ
Shall I scratch your back?
ゆい。澄ました顔で息だけ荒げるのは
Please
な
stop
んか
with the
すご
heavy
く不
breathing.
気味で怖いからやめなさい。っていうかね、それなら元をどうにかしてよ、元を。
It's creeping me out. And if you wanted to help, Kanatsu points at the Nogiyama men. Do something about them, will you?
おい、
Hey, I try to warn her, but it's too late. The man in the white suit glances our way, his attention drawn by Kanatsu's pointing finger. It ends there, or it should, but fate has it out for us today, it seems. There's these strange moments, a product of coincidence or some sort of chain reaction, where a crowded, busy street suddenly goes silent. In such cases, the vacuum usually lasts for only an instant, before people notice its existence and move to fill it in. Now, when such a silence falls, and with the worst possible
あ
timing,
ののみさんチームを。
get rid of those nasty fleas. The vacuum is not filled, it persists in defiance of nature. And she doesn't shut up, because none of these characters shut up.
まずい。
I assess the situation. Kanatsu is frozen stiff. The yakuza are staring straight at her. The locals are silent as pallbearers.
やべえな、これ。
Oh, this is bad. I tell myself as though my brain hadn't reached that conclusion without me. Danger. Yes, danger! My brain understands. What it can't seem to grasp is how to proceed from there. Words like run and hide flash through my mind, but I'm unable to comprehend their meaning. I don't know what to do. Someone's tugging at my sleeve. There's nothing I can do. Someone's pounding on my shoulder. Tadayasa is urging me and Kanatsu to run. By the time I realize it, however, the four men are right in front of us.
姉ちゃん。
Hey there, girly. The man in the white suit addresses Kanatsu, his gentle tone at odds with his hard features.
なんぞ言いましたかね。 今
What you call us? I don't know. Fleas seems appropriate. Now you gotta tell me you've committed. You've screamed, "Get rid of them," and called them effing fleas twice in a row, while they're right beside you. The immense gap between the man's appearance and his tone can only be described as queer. Regardless, no amount of sugar can hide the bitterness in this coffee. For a second, though, I'm hopeful he's not as pissed as I expected. Maybe he's realized there's no profit in beating up kids. Which means the best thing to do is apologize and get it over with. I glance sideline at Kanatsu. She's probably thinking the same thing, and I see her mouth moving, trying to form words. The faces in this, oh my goodness. This one's intentionally creepy. You know that. It's supposed to be super creepy, but look at that wide rictus grip. Oh my goodness. The man puts a hand to his ear and leans forward as though straining to listen, and his buddies chuckle. Kanatsu doesn't crack a smile, of course. I know better than anyone. She doesn't have the nerve. Come on, you want to run your mouth? Keep running your mouth.
すいませんお兄さん
Excuse me, mister. Tadayasu suddenly steps between Kanatsu and the man. He probably means to lend her a hand since all she's doing is gaping like a fish. I wish I could be as smooth as him.
違うんですよ彼女は別に
It's not like that. She didn't say... Hey, Tadayasu, why'd you stop there? You're supposed to say something like... She was praising General Nogi. Who knows? It might have worked. Come on, man. If anyone can talk these guys down, it's you. Where'd she go, anyway? Oh. There you are. Lying on the ground a couple meters from where you should be. Get it together, man. Did you trip or something? Or are you trying to match this guy's comedy act with your own? Right, seems like a solid idea. All smiles from here on out.
誰がお前に聞いたかボケ俺はこの姉ちゃんと話しとんじゃ突っ込んどるガキが
What's with this guy's forehead? It's like there's boils or something on it. Like he's got some skin condition. I wouldn't say boils. That's not quite right. He's got some skin condition on his forehead in this drawing here. Who the fuck was asking you? Don't interrupt me, you little shit. My blood turns to ice. Tadayasu was splayed out on the road. It was a punch that put him there, and the man must have thrown it the second he stepped in. He didn't even get to finish his sentence. It took me a few seconds, but I finally processed the situation. It's okay, our character takes like 5 to 10 seconds to process things. These guys have no intention of going easy on us. They're dead serious. The other yakuza don't seem the slightest bit surprised. The only reaction is a shrug from the short guy with the cane. This sort of thing must happen all the time.
どうする
Well, what now? Tadayasu sits up, his expression calm. What a tough guy, but he doesn't make any more moves. Anything he does will probably just get him hit again. I'm glad he realizes that. Kanatsu is as pale as a sheet. She might be headstrong, but that's not the same as having the courage to face unfettered violence. Well, figure something out. Yeah, it's stupid protagonist trope extreme. Yeah. When it comes to this sort of thing, she's actually very timid. I'm surprised she's still conscious, to be honest. Though I guess she might have fainted with her eyes open. No point looking to the locals for help. No one wants to make an enemy of the Nogiyama crew. Not with Rokuhara backing them. What about me?
体は動く
I can move. I feel the lightheadedness characteristic of extreme distress. Still, my body obeys my commands, but so what if it does? What can I do? Pummel 4 yakuza into submission? Throw Kanatsu over my shoulder and
無
run?
理だ
That's not really possible. There's no chance at all the Nogiyama men rule this field and possess all the power. I can't defeat them. I can't defy them. No one can. I decide to bow and apologize. That's our only hope, the only viable course of action.
ごめんなさい
Please forgive her.
本当どうこう言ってたわけじゃないんですただちょっと
She
言い
wasn't
間違え
insulting
た
you,
ってい
really?
うか
It was
あ
just a
の
slip of the tongue, so...
なあ姉ちゃ
Young lady. The man doesn't even spare me a glance. He addresses Kanatsu in the same sickeningly sweet tone as before.
んダメだよなおじさんたちのことを悪く言ったりしちゃおじさんたちはね六原幕府のお仕事を手伝ってるんだから
You really shouldn't talk about us like that. We're doing important work for Rokuhara, you know?
幕府のためってことは みんなのためってことなんだよ。そうだよね。
Good for Rokuhara is good for everyone, right? Right.
そうだ。だからおじさんたちの悪口を言うのは良くないことだ。
Right,
謝ら
that's
な
why
い
it's
とい
wrong
け
to
な
make
い
fun of us.
ね。
You'll apologize, won't you?
ごめんなさい。
Yes, I'm sorry.
じゃあそうだね。どうしようか。
Alright then, how should we settle this? The man doesn't seem to hear Konatsu's desperate apology. Even though he was the one who demanded it, he strokes his chin theatrically. Of course.
とりあえず姉ちゃんさ、
It's the typical yakuza scene. Oh, I know.
服脱ごうか。
Why don't you strip for us? What? One of the other men whistles poorly. The guy with the cane just smirks and shakes his head. They're enjoying this. Huh? Huh?
服全部服脱いでさ、裸になってそこに土下座するの。それでいいや。それで今日は許してあげよう。
Take off your clothes, all of them. Strip naked, then kowtow. We'll let you off with that this time.
若い子相手にきっついお仕置きはしたくないからね。
I wouldn't want to have to subject a kid to any sort of harsh punishment. Hold on, how does that not qualify as harsh? Did I-
できるよね。姉ちゃんが悪いんだからね。悪いことしたらちゃんと謝らないとね。
You did something bad?
脱
If you
ご
do
う
something
か。
bad, you got to apologize properly now. How about it? So I'm like 50-50. I'm 50-50 on cop guy coming up, like, right behind them in 2 seconds. Or something else happening. That's what I'm sitting at right now. I'm like, okay. How does this scene go? How is kowtowing naked a proper apology? What fucked up country are these guys from? Yamato, it seems.
Oh.
Konatsu's about to cry. I can feel it coming. It's gonna be big. The kind of waterworks I haven't seen since we were little. She's gonna start bawling like a baby all because these pricks won't leave her alone. Nogiyama's men, servants of Rokuhara, any of the four could beat me to a pulp with one hand tied behind his back. No matter what I do, I can't win.
だから
So what? So what? That's right. Didn't you hear something yesterday? Something incredibly important? What was it? Remember those words. It doesn't
関係
matter.
ない
Right, right.
勝てるかどうかは
It doesn't matter if I can't
関
win.
係ない
I must fight, therefore I shall. And to reach this conclusion, it does not require me to consider the probability of success. I grab Konatsu's hand and yank her behind me. Alright. That's the way he's going. Well, he might be a fool, but at least he's a courageous fool? He's got something going for him. And then I step forward to take her place.
なんじゃお前は。
Who the fuck are you? Once again, the man switches personalities in the blink of an eye. He'd make a pretty good actor were he so inclined. Arias,
ユーヒ手分けだお前は小夏を引っ張って逃げてくれ
let's split up. You take Konatsu and run.
あ
Hold it.
俺はこいつらを足止めする
I'll keep these guys busy. I ignore the man's roar. Fuck him. I got a job to do.
無茶だと
I'm
思
not
う
sure
け
it's
ど
gonna
な
work.
知ってる
I know. He's right. I'm gonna get tossed aside like last week's garbage.
でも
Doesn't matter. It would help if your team was cooperating with you. Without another word, Tadayasu jumps up and gets behind me. He's moving way too fast for a guy who just got punched in the
小
face.
夏
Konatsu?
余計なことは考えなくていいからあっちにまっすぐ走っていやほんと何も考えずに難しかったら羊でも数えるといいかもあれ寝るかなそれ
Don't think about anything. Just run and don't look back. I'm serious. You gotta empty your mind. Count sheep or something. Or wait, that might put you to sleep.
おい
And they just spend like 2 minutes talking. Right. What's he doing next to
ユー
me?
ヒ一人で足止めは無理だよ
There's
話に
no
も
way
な
you
らない
solve them by yourself.
でも二人だったら案外どうにかなるような気がしなくもないような錯覚なような
I have this crazy feeling the two of us might manage. It's probably just the drugs talking, though.
どっちだよ
Great.
無茶は分かっててやるんでしょ
Not like you expected to win, right? You're right. It makes me want to puke. Can I ask why the hell you're joining me?
なめとんかお前ら
You kids fucking crazy? I thought that was the Yakuza's job. If Kiryu has taught me anything. Yeah, pretty much. We're taking on 4 gangsters. Fleas though they may be. Crazy just about sums it up. The man in the white suit and his garishly dressed buddies are purple with rage. The sickly looking guy, meanwhile, looking as amused as ever.
小夏走れって言ったら走れよ
Natsu, when I say run, take off. She doesn't respond, but can't spare a glance to make sure she heard me. I can't spare a glance to make sure she heard me, yeah.
とりあえず泣かれる
Well,
の
I
は
kept
防
her
げた
from
よな
crying. It's a small satisfaction, but I never want to hear that awful wailing of hers again. And I never want to see her cry like that again either.
忠康いいか
Tadayasu, ready?
ちっともよくはないけど事態が好転する見込みがないのなら別にいつでもいいんじゃないって意味ではいいよ
No way, but since the situation's unlikely to improve, fuck it, let's go!
ああそうかい
Works for me. I take one step forward, my morale truly bolstered by Tadayasu's words, and as expected, the Yakuza don't fall back. With one more step will put me in striking distance. There's no way we win. Even so, it's my time to fight. And so I take the
お
final...
待ちください
Excuse me? A voice from out of left field brings me up short, but Tadayasu screeches to a halt beside me. The only thing that keeps us from getting put on our asses right here is the fact that the gangsters are just as distracted. I spin around to face the speaker, though I already know who it is.
港さん
Officer? Officer Minato strides up through the crowd and interposes himself between us and the Yakuza. Given how close we were to the men, this puts him close enough to feel their breath against his face. Tadayasu and I quickly step back to give him some space. Officer Minato doesn't seem to mind one way or the other, and I realize for the first time since this thing started, the man with the cane stopped smiling.
なんだあんた
Who the fuck are you? For a second, the man in the white suit seems taken aback. He's tall, but Officer Minato still has half a head on him. From behind, Officer Minato appears to block out the sky. I've never seen a back so dependable. The tension drains out of me like air from a balloon, and I almost collapse in relief.
警察です
Oh, I'm a police officer.
ああ警察
A cop? The man immediately regains his confidence. I don't blame him. They have no reason to fear the law with Rokuhara backing them.
でもこの人は違う
But he might be different. He's even willing to go up against Ginsego. The man in the suit should be afraid. I bet he doesn't have the courage to challenge Ginsego. When we attacked Officer Minato yesterday, he didn't do anything because we were just stupid kids. But now there's no reason for him to hold back, not against Rokuhara dogs.
警察がなんじゃ俺ら六原親と犬もんだと知ったるんか
You know who we work for? Rokuhara, that's
い
who.
え知りませんでしたご説明に感謝します
I was not aware of that. The explanation is appreciated. Officer Minato bows, polite as always. Damn, it's like he's completely unafraid. The man's like a robot.
バカにしてんか
You fucking with me?
そういった意図はありません
That was not my intent. The gangster flips out, of course, but Officer Minato stays icy cool. The man might as well be shouting at air.
なら何のつもりじゃ
What the fuck are
あ
you
ちら
doing?
の3人
These 3. The man might explode into violence at any moment, but Officer Minato looks away to point at us.
事情あって彼らは現在自分の保護下にありますしたがって彼らが問題を起こしたのなら自分に解決の義務があります
Interesting.
その
Interesting.
義務を遂行している次第です
These 3 are presently in my care, therefore it's my responsibility to address any problems they may have caused. He turns back to face the gangsters, though they're only a few meters away. I somehow know they'll never reach us, not through him.
キム
Say what?
彼らが何か問題を起こしましたか
Have they caused you any problems?
問題ああ問題はあらあいつらな六原親といの俺らをバカにしくさった
Problems? Yes, they have. They insulted us for doing our job, the job that Rokuhara hired us to do, I might add.
その詫びを入れさせとったんじゃなんか文句あるか
I'm gonna make them apologize. You got a problem with that?
なるほど
Thank you. I
了解しました
understand the situation. Officer Minato nods agreeably, but shows no sign of backing down.
ならどかんかい
Now, out of the way.
その前にあなた方の要求を伺いたい
Well, first I would like to confirm your intent. What sort of
どのような
apology
謝罪を求
do
め
you
るのですか
desire of them?
まずは土下座。さあ、そっからのことじゃ。
First they gotta kowtow, then we'll see.
お断りします。
I'm afraid that's out of the question. At last, he defies them outright.
あんじゃと
What?
悪口一つに土下座は見合わない。しかもそれだけでは済まない模様。相応の謝罪による納得を求めます。陳謝の言葉と一例で。
This guy, it's like he's operating off of a script. It's like, it would not be right to make them kneel for a single insult. Moreover, I do not believe that is all you had in mind. I request you accept more appropriate compensation. For example, a spoken apology accompanied by a standing bow. Like, he gets that all out in one breath, and you're just like, did he write that up beforehand? Was he just standing in the crowd
そん
rehearsing
なん
them?
で乃木山組のメンツが立つか
Fuck that, we got our reputation to think about.
立ちませんか。
Wait, that won't satisfy your reputation?
立たんわい
Hell no.
では、陳謝を400字詰め原稿用紙5枚以上の文面で提出する形では。
Will you accept a written apology of no fewer than 5 single-spaced pages?
どうもならんわ。なめさらすんも大概にせ
No fucking way. You trying to piss me off, Copper? 5 written pages of an apology? That would take like a few hours at least to write.
乃木山組やな。六原の大門しょっとるんじゃぞ。半端な格好で済まされっか。
We represent Rokuhara here. No half-assed apology is gonna satisfy that.
了解しました。そこまで言われるのなら、やむを得ません。
Very well. In that case, you leave me with no choice. He shifts his way forward. The man in the suit flinches and steps back. Too slow, dumbass. No way. You punks like you can take him. He's strong. I know he is. He taught me the most important lesson I've ever learned. And I know there's more where that came from. You fleas are just the first. Time for this cop to show me what fighting evil's all about. Now he bows, right? Wait.
何やっとんじゃ。
What's this?
土下座です。
I'm kowtowing, of course. Officer Minato drops to his knees and touches his forehead to the dirt. His voice is as calm as ever, but he is definitely kowtowing. I've never seen anyone kowtow so well. The man's an expert.
これにて勘弁していただきたい。
I ask that this satisfy your honor? No, really, what's going on here? Silence reigns for several seconds, and it's shattered by the Nogiyama men's laughter.
なんじゃそら。散々もったいつけといて見かけ倒しかい。
What's this? After all that talk, that's all you've got? The man in the suit convulses with mirth. His friends in the bright shirts are doubled over, clutching their bellies with tears in their eyes. I wonder if this Yakuza guy's a recurring character or if they just made a sprite for just this one scene. I even hear a few snickers from the supposedly neutral onlookers.
土下座かい。ガキどもの代わりに土下座するってか。
You're gonna pay these little shits debt for them?
はい。
Correct.
頭の下げ方が足らんわ。
Kiss the dirt, asshole. The man plants his sandaled foot on the officer's head. Officer Minato doesn't move a muscle. He lets the man grind his face into the dirt and doesn't even make a sound. Emboldened by this, the man and his two friends start throwing kicks. The man with the cane, meanwhile, watches in stone-faced silence. The gangsters rain blows on him from all sides, but Officer Minato doesn't resist. He just kneels there and takes it. What's going on here? Aren't there times you have to fight? Isn't this one of them? These fleas work for Rokuhara. They're the bad guys. Fight them, damn it. You're the guy who's gonna stop Kinsego, aren't you? How can you fight Kinsego when you won't even defend yourself from some punks? Or was it all? Is that all talk? Officer Minato doesn't stand. He lets them kick and stomp on him, bowing all the while. Fucking lame, man.
なんて面白いやつじゃ。
So
よし、
cliched.
今度はな。お前、芸を
What a
やって
funny
み
guy.
ろ。
Now let's see you perform.
芸とは。
Perform?
3遍回って、ワンと泣いてみ。
Turn 3 times and bark for us. Tough. I can't take
犬
anymore.
のモノマネですか。
You want me to do an impression of a dog?
そうじゃ。
Right. Well,
できんのか
それを謝罪として求められるのであれば、実行するまでです。
if it will serve as an apology, so be it.
どこまで下手らなんじゃこいつは。よし、ほらやってみんかい。
I ain't ever seen a man so spineless. Get on with it then.
はい。
As you wish. Will this be like the... I'm just curious if he does this, if it's like the funniest, most... Like he's so unenthusiastic about stuff. Would it just be like the cringest dog you ever seen where he's like, bark, bark, indeed, I am a dog. Arf, arf. Like, completely neutral voice. Because he has 0 acting chops. That would be some funny shit. No.
その辺で止めたらどうよ、反町。
I think that's far enough, don't you, Sorimachi? A voice cuts through the laughter, and I turn to look, and there, a sun at her back, stands a girl whose sheer force of presence rivals, if not surpasses, that of any other person here. At first glance, she looks like a normal girl. I'd place her a little older than us, though depending on the angle, the fineness of her features makes her seem years younger. But there's nothing normal about her eyes. They're fierce and hawk-like, blazing with strength.
一条さんだ。
Oh, it's Ichijo, Tadayasu whispers. Who?
一条さんだよ。うちの上の学校の。ほら、ちょっと前に逗子の不良グループが鎌倉制服とかアホなこと言って暴れ出した時、
She's in the school above ours.
伝説の。
You've heard the stories. How she beat down that group of Zushi gangbangers who were bragging they'd conquer Kamakura.
あの人か。ヨレナの一条。
Oh, it's her, as in stay away from Ichijo? I've heard of rumors, as her name, which means a straight line, suggests Ichijo hates anything that deviates from the straight and narrow path. She'll pick a fight with anyone who gets on her bad side, and if the stories are true, she's never been beat. But because she's a hard ass, no one wants anything to do with her. She has no friends, and trouble follows her like an abandoned puppy. That's why people treat her like a delinquent, even though she's never done anything wrong herself. It's even said that Rokuhara is numbered among her opponents. She hasn't gone against them openly, of course, but they say she's staged covert attacks on their operations. It's a little hard to swallow, but then only she knows the truth. Well, I mean, she has no friends, so alright. So this is like, what, a 16-year-old? Like a 16-year-old girl in a schoolgirl outfit? Alright. All I can say is those are the eyes of someone who can beat down anything that came at her, big or small, and keep right on walking. Alright, is she gonna beat up 4 thugs or scare them off? It would be really funny if she beat them up.
今度は誰じゃ。
Who the fuck are you?
潮時ってもんがあるだろ。
Isn't it about time to move on? Ichijo ignores the man in white. Her stare is fixed on the short man with the cane.
そいつは土下座して詫びを入れた。ならそれでいいとしとけよ。殴れば殴るだけ金になるってわけでもねえだろ別に。
Put his head to the dirt and
むしろ
apologize.
商売の邪魔になってんじゃねえか。
Why don't you let him off? It's not like money will fall out if you kick him hard enough.
しかしね、ジョーさん。
Maybe so, miss. The man speaks for the first time, his voice soft and silky smooth.
あたしらはメンツで生きてるんで。金よりもこっちの方が重いんです。
Reputation is our livelihood, you see. It's worth even more than money. At least that's the excuse, the man's eyes seem to add.
けど金もなきゃ困るんだろ。
But you do need money. Ichijo waves at the shops lining the street.
いつまでももたついてるとここら一体軒並み臨時休業になっちまうな。金集めに失敗したら親にどう言い訳するんだ。
If you keep wasting time with this guy, every store on the block is gonna put up their shutters. How are you gonna explain it to the boss when you show up empty-handed? You're just having a little fun? The man giggles in a thoroughly loathsome sound, but says nothing.
メンツなら十分立ったろ。大の男、それも朝日のもんどころ担いでる野郎が頭下げたんだ。面目役女ってもんじゃねえの。満足していい潮時だろ。
I think your reputation's safe. A grown man with a sunburst on his belt, no less, kowtowed to you. That's gotta do wonders for your image.
あんたらの組に逆らおうなんてやつはこれ
No
で
one's
当
gonna give
分
you
出ね
any
えだろ
trouble
うか
after
な。
this. Except me, the fire in her eyes declares. I don't doubt for a second the man understands her perfectly.
あとはビビった連中から好きなだけ金を集めりゃいいだろ。反町一蔵。
Get your money while these people are good and scared. Isn't that how you do things, Sorimachi Ichizo? After all, I can't see any other reason for his laughter. I mean, unless the sound of one's name is something to cackle at. The man with the cane, Sorimachi Ichizo, titters uncontrollably. He sounds more like a frog than a man. I shiver instinctively repulsed. The man sounds like a frog? What? Alright. After a few moments of giggling, Sorimachi turns his crooked smile to the man in the white suit, who's remained silent the whole time.
武藤さん、構いませんかね。
That work for you, Mr. Muto?
反町。
Sorimachi.
ジョーさんの言うことも的外れじゃありませんよ。これ以上ここで遊んでても、そう楽しいことはないんじゃないですかね。
The lady does have a point, you know. Haven't you had enough fun for one
仕
day?
事をしませんと。
Really should be getting back to work.
まさかイルスを使うようなバカがいるとは思いませんけどね。金を隠して上納金を値切るくらいの浅知恵なら出すやつはいるかもしれませんや。
Not that I think anyone will be dumb enough to pretend they're not home, but you never know. Someone might try to hide a few coins and skimp on their dues.
そいつはちょっと面倒じゃないですかね。
And I don't feel like ferreting them out, do you? The man in the suit falls silent considering his options. Apparently, berating the smaller man for undermining his authority isn't one of them. After several seconds, he turns and walks away without another word, his two underlings following obediently. Not one of them spares us a second glance. Sorimachi joins them, still smiling that limp-lipped smile, and then they're gone. Little by little, sound and color return to the street.
Yuhi.
Yuhi?
Eh?
Tadayasu's voice snaps me out of my daze. Oh, the old man's voice? Yeah, it was a bit unexpected.
終わったみたいだよ。小夏、大丈夫？
Looks like we're in the clear. You alright, Konatsu? Expecting the typical old man voice, and it was like not the typical old man voice for anime. Yeah. She's still pretty out of it, looks like. I can't blame her.
つか、忠康、大丈夫か？こっちのセリフだ。お
I'm
前
worried
殴
about
られ
you.
てるだろ？
Didn't you get punched in the
平気なの？
face?
口の中を少し切っただけ。大したことはないよ。
Oh, I
歯
just
折れて
cut
ね。
the inside of my mouth a bit. It's nothing.
うまいもんだね。歯の上から殴ると拳の方も痛むから避けたんだろうな。
That guy knew better than to punch me in the teeth. You can hurt your hand that way. Why does he sound so impressed? Anyway, I guess he's fine if he's talking like that. Tadayasu wipes blood from his nose, muttering about how air shoots out of his ears each time he tries to blow it clear. I catch a glimpse of school uniform over his shoulder. Ichijo's leaving. I just can't let her go like this. I don't tend to get along with rogues like her, but that's no reason not to thank her for saving our asses.
一条さん。
Ichijo? She glances over her shoulder.
ありがとうございました。
Thanks for your help. I bow low to show my gratitude. I see her feet come to a stop. She's wearing normal sneakers, much to my relief. I half expected her to be wearing Geta sandals. Geta?
Ah.
Sure. She replies listlessly like she can't be bothered, and then another voice addresses her.
助けられました。助けられました。感謝します。
I, too, thank you for your assistance.
お前は話しかけるの。
Don't you talk to me. This time she doesn't even offer a
メ
glance.
タレが映る。うせろ。
Gutlessness is contagious. Get lost. He turns and leaves without another
乃
word.
木山の連中はどうでもいい。あれはただのチンピラだ。
Don't worry about Nogiyama, Ichijo continues. They're just punks. Her voice is distant and she hasn't turned to face us. She's obviously in no mood for a conversation.
けど、仕込み杖を持ってた男。あいつに関わるのはよせ。
But remember that man with the trick cane and stay the hell away from him.
六原お雇い組の居候に加えて、GHQ の御用聞きまでやってる。厄介な野郎だよ。
He's more than just
チンピラは
Nogiyama's
チン
guest.
ピラだけどな。
He also runs errands for GHQ. He may be a punk, but he's a punk with connections.
立ち回りのうまいチンピラなんだ。下手につつくと何が出てくるかわからねえ。近寄らないのが一番だ。
There's no
Avoid
telling
it,
what could
Milo.
happen if you mess with him. Best to stay far away and keep that one on file. So this old man had a sprite, but Ichijo is not getting a sprite. Does that mean the old man is going to show up more than once? That's what it seems to me, right? Like, Ichijo doesn't get a dialogue sprite. She gets a portrait, but she doesn't get a sprite yet. The old man is Marth. Red hair. Interesting. Yarmud. Alright. Without waiting for me to respond, she turns away and resumes walking into the sunset. Today you learned that Old Man is voiced by the same person who does Marth from Fire Emblem and Diarmuid and Red Hair from Fate. Also Garo? You mean Garo from like One Punch Man? Interesting. That was a warning. I realized it a few moments later. It was delivered so brusquely I almost didn't notice. Should I have thanked her for it too late now. All I can do is watch her recede into the distance. Someone taps my shoulder and I turn to see Tadayasu pointing his thumb down the road. What should we do? A man in a black coat is ducking into a nearby store. I guess he means to continue his investigation, even amidst the look of undisguised contempt he's receiving from everyone nearby. The meaning of Tadayasu's question is obvious. He wants to know if we should stay with him. Go home. Nightfall is fast approaching, and it'd be too late for us to move about soon. Not that I'd have answered differently otherwise. Neither Tadayasu nor Konatsu object. That looked painful, Mido.
いや、別だ。
It was nothing. Well, those three have finally left. I suppose it was worth it.
Oh.
Indeed. What is it? Is something wrong?
いささか。だが、昨日お前が遭遇したという兵隊だ。
A thought occurred to me. The infected Tsurugi you encountered last night. Ah, okay, so he is a pilot. He is a pilot. Interesting. I was trying to figure out where his inner strength came from, and I was like, is he the yellow pilot? But it wasn't clear because he seemed to be commenting on how poor the blade work was for the. If he hadn't said something like how the blade work was really shoddy because it touched the ground, the katana touched the ground when it was cutting, I would have been like, huh, okay. I was like, but now that I think about it, he might just not be that good with the sword because he's not an official member of the Rokuhara. Something like that. They may not have access to training facilities, something like that. It's possible. Okay. Yeah?
卵を与えられているのなら、俺たちのことを知っていても不思議ではない。そやつはお前を狙って現れたのだろうと。
Since she gave
一度
an
はそう
egg,
判断したが。
I thought she might also have told it about us. That's why I assumed it was targeting you. And now?
狙っていたのはあくまであの学生たちであり、お前との遭遇と戦闘は、その過程で発生したに過ぎないという可能性も否定しかねる。
Can't deny the possibility it was targeting those students instead. That its encounter with you is merely coincidence.
そうね。そもそもそれを警戒して私がついていたのだし。
It is connected to a Tsurugi pilot. Alright. It's true, that's why I was watching them in case it showed up.
敵が寄生体だからといって、その可能性を考慮から外したのは、やや早計だったか。
It was rash of me to discount that possibility just because the enemy is infected.
あの寄生体は以前も現在も少年少女の拉致だけが目的で、私たちのことは眼中にない。
You think its only goal is abducting children? We're not even a factor in its plans?
その可能性も。
Seems likely. Come to think of it.
思えばあいつは、寄生体にほとんど何も教えないことの方が多
It's
く。
been far more common for her to tell the infected nothing.
寄生されたことにさえ気づいていない例もあったものね。
There's even been a few who didn't know they were infected. Is this the Tsurugi talking, or is it the pilot of the Tsurugi? It's not quite clear. I assume that's what the case is going on here.
ああ、
Exactly. I believe it would be
結
dangerous
論として、
to let those three
あ
out
の
of our
学生
sight.
3人から完全に目を離すのは、
ならどうする？
So, should we split up?
その必要がある。
That is the only option.
了解。
Understood. So, what do we do tomorrow? Well, we did mostly nothing, right? By the time Kanatsu finally speaks to me, standing in the doorway to my room, it's close to bedtime. After leaving the bar district and splitting up with Tadayasu, we headed home, ate, and took our baths. During that time, we each spoke only to Kanatsu's parents. They seemed surprised we weren't bouncing off the walls like usual, but not enough to ask us what happened. I'm glad we didn't have to think up some excuse. It wouldn't have been so easy if we'd been bruised and bloody, though. I'm worried Tadayasu might have trouble explaining his injuries.
どうもこうもねえよ。
That should be
ね
obvious.
えよって言っても
It's not.
別に変わらねえ。律を探す。今までと同じだ。
We keep looking for Ritsu.
でも
She cuts herself off, but I know what she was gonna say.
最初から分かってたのにな。
We were right the first time.
警察なんか当てにならない。分かってたっての。
They're worthless. We should have known better. I hate to think I trusted that man for even a day. It's entirely my fault, of course. He didn't ask me to put my faith in him, and still I can't suppress my anger. At least that anger has helped me move on, and now I can forget about him and go back to believing only in myself and my friends. Like it should be. Like it's always been.
あの一条って人に相談してみようかなんてこともちょっ
Thought
と考
about
えたけど
asking
さ。
Ichijo for help. I steal a glance at Kanatsu's face. It looks like she was thinking the same thing.
けどもういいよな。勝手に期待して勝手に失望するなんてのは。
But forget it.
俺たちだけでやろ
We don't need our hopes betrayed again. Let's do this ourselves.
う。それでいいだろ。
You cool with that?
うん
Yeah. She nods. I guess she came to the same conclusion. The day hasn't been a complete waste, at least. We have proof a Musha was involved, and we know that the next question is how that Musha left the bamboo grove without being seen. If we can find the answer, we'll probably find the culprit.
もう寝ろよ。今日は疲れたろ。
Go to bed.
いろいろ。
You must be tired after everything.
あんたもね
You too.
ああ。
Yeah, I reply with a yawn. Off to bed. I'm exhausted. My body and spirit are dead weight, though it's difficult to say which is heavier. As soon as Kanatsu leaves, I'll probably collapse into bed and not wake up till morning. I can't wait. But she doesn't leave. She's still standing in my doorway. Just let a guy sleep. He's so tired.
あ
What's up?
うん
Well...
えっと
She mutters incoherently, casting her gaze left, right, into the ceiling. Either she's having a brain spasm or she's on guard against Ninja. I'm not sure which would be worse. We don't need to be worried about Ninja. We got lots of real threats here. I've never seen her like this
何や
before.
ってんだ
What's wrong with you?
えっとさ
Well, you
う
know,
ん。
あ
yeah,
んた
you were totally,
今日何の役にも立たなかったじゃない
you're totally useless today. I collapse onto my bed. I feel like I might pass out and never wake up again. Never mind until morning. Oof. I guess she's just trying to kill him here.
そうじゃなくて
That's not what I
そ
meant.
うじゃなくてね
He's dead. Let the man rest in peace.
なんなんだよ。
What do you mean? You better act fast if you want to pull me out of this pit of despair.
確かに今日あんたは私のピンチだったのに何の役にも立たなくてかっこいいところは全部一条さんに持っていかれてて男としての株を下げに下げて最安値になっちゃったけど
I mean, yeah, you did absolutely nothing to rescue me, and you just stood there while Ichijo took care of everything all by yourself. To be honest, I'm surprised your balls didn't just fall off right there. Well, Kanatsu, that was pretty scathing. It's almost like she's a little bit tsundere. You trying to kill me with words?
でも
But still.
何だ、
まるで何の役にも立たなくてかかしも同然っていうかむしろかかしの方がスズメを追い払うだけマシかもって感じだったんだがその
We're still going. We're still going. Even if you were as useless as a scarecrow, or even more useless than scarecrows, at least scare away crows.
しつこいよ。
Enough with the
ねえ
insults.
でもね
Even
助け
so,
てくれたの
you
は
did try.
ちゃんと分かってるからありがとう
I just
な
wanted
か
to
った
say
のはそれだけ
thanks.
うん。うん。
Sure.
じゃあ、おやすみ。早く寝なさいよ。
Good night. It's like, go to sleep.
おう
Yeah, alright. See what I mean? I think she I think our character's starting on the Kanatsu route. Accidentally. I keep staring at the door for a while after it closes, and then I cast my gaze left, right, into the ceiling, rubbing my nose all the while. I'm not on the lookout for a ninja, so I must be having a brain spasm, of course. And then I fall into bed and pass out. Before I lose consciousness, I might have the strange feeling my body and spirit have grown lighter. So, brain spasms, yeah.
六原幕府とはもともとの所在地が京都六原だったことからの通称で、公式には陸 F と称されるが、
Rokuhara Shogunate is so named because it was originally headquartered at Rokuhara in Kyoto. Officially, it's known as
お
Rikuefu.
かしな話になるが、
However,
本来陸 F という役所は存在しない。
it may surprise you to learn there was never an agency called the Rikuefu.
陸 F とは左右この F、左右表 F、左右右門府、この6つの首都防衛軍の総称だった。陸 F という単独の機関があったわけではないんだ。
I see. This is the third history lesson we're getting here. Do they not take art classes other than history? And why is history conveniently placed whenever our characters are about to do something or just recently did something? The first history lesson was before lunch. The second one was the last class before they went home. Where is this third one positioned? Is it the first class, perhaps? Rikuef is the collective name for the 6 armies charged with defending Kyoto since ancient times. The left and right palace guards, the left and right watch, and the left and right gate guards. There was no individual entity known as Rikuef.
だが、
Rikuef.
近衛陸府を統律する総司令官として陸営大将領が置かれ、やがてこの職が武者の総領としての任務を帯びると、大将領のもとに武者を中心とする参謀組織が誕生した。
Ah, but there was, however, a Rikue as shogun, appointed commander-in-chief over the 6 armies, and over time this position assumed authority over all of Yamato's musha, so a ruling council of sorts came into being with the Rikue as shogun at its
こ
head.
れを指して陸 F と呼び習わすようになったわけだ。
This is what we mean when we say, speak of the Rikue. Rikue. As always, Suzukawa's voice carries to every corner of the classroom. It seems to lack its usual energy, however, from which I can hardly blame him. It's been 5 days since Ritsu disappeared, and I know we're not the only ones worried about her.
陸営大将領は征夷大将軍と同じく軍政を施行する権限を持つ。
Like the Sei Tai Shogun, the Rikue Shogun possesses the authority to declare martial
た
law.
だし征夷大将軍が出征して獲得した占領地について権限を持つのに対し、陸営大将領は外敵を迎え撃つ防衛戦争に際して必要と判断された地域において権限を有
That's
す
an
る。
essay, alright. But while the Sei Tai Shogun's authority extends over foreign territories conquered in the Emperor's name, the Rikue Shogun's power is to be exercised only in the defense of Yamato from outside threats.
どちらも戦時に限定される臨時権力だ。戦争が終われば施政権は朝廷に返上される。
In both cases, the power granted to the shogun is temporary, limited to wartime only, and it's to be returned to the emperor immediately upon cessation of hostilities.
だがかつて鎌倉幕府は征夷大将軍のこの権限を拡大解釈し、施政権を全国に広げ、かつ向上化した。
You will recall the Kamakura shogunate took a broad interpretation of this law and expanded the Sei Tai shogun's authority to include all of Yamato and continue indefinitely. Okay, I'm gonna pause this alternate history lesson. The first time they did this, using the classroom to explain the setting that they live in, I was okay. I was down with that because it's a somewhat creative way to give your characters, or give the player / reader, a base understanding of the setting. The second time, kind of still okay. We're doing this a third time now. while it is nice to get the alternate history, I feel like we don't actually, I mean, even if we like might want this information at some point, it is no longer a nice or convenient gimmick to provide the information, and it's getting tedious or feeling a little bit too spoon-feedy. Like the author is just feeding me, is just dumping exposition on me. That's what's happening. It's like, it was a creative way to deliver an exposition dump. Now he's just repeatedly ramming exposition down my throat. And I'm like, can you not do this? Can you find a better way to do this? Can we maybe move on to a second stage where like someone's telling us this because it's relevant information? Like, most of this information, not too relevant to the plot right now. It might be relevant in the future, but it's not being presented to us in a way that's immediately relevant, and it's just being like dumped on us at a semi-regular pace without even a transition or much of anything. It's just like, oh, we're in class again. Anyway, time for a lecture. And it's like, okay, 20 pages of alternate history, and you're like, all right. Like, I feel like at 3, you've done enough. I don't want to see another one of these. I'm okay with this one, but like, you know, if I'd say like the scene was, you know, if the scene was easily like, you know, A, good job, A+, you know, not an A+, but an A, solid effort. The second scene is like a B, where you're like, yeah, okay, it's not as original, but it's fine. And this is like a C, like if I was grading it. You know, where you're just like, well, like, yeah, okay. Like, you get a C and you're kind of just like, I got a C. You're not happy about a C. You're like, I didn't fail. Fine. That's where we're sitting at here. Like, it's bordering on failure. Maybe even D.
同じことを六原もやったわけだ
This
な。
delivery is getting a bit tedious.
今は国難の時であるという名分のもとに臨時体験を拡張。大和全域に対して無期限の施政権を主張している。
Like, I'm thinking, if they do this a 4th time, I'm just gonna say it, they should deliver this via a fucking item. Like, you know like some VNs have like an index or something like that, where it just has like random info dumps about like 10 different things, you know? They'll introduce a word, and it'll just be like an entire, you know, 5 paragraphs of text about that one word, explaining the Rikue Shogun, right? Explain Rikueifu, and then have like 3 paragraphs. And like, I'm thinking that would be better if they do this more than 3 times, because it's like a nice gimmick the first time, and at 3, it's getting to be a bit tedious. Having this guy slowly info dump stuff we have to listen to. Rest of the story is good, though. Yeah, just introduce an entire history book if you want to do this. Like, the delivery is not exceptionally exciting. It's a interesting way to establish your universe the first time you do it, right? Rather than getting a voiceover, which this is an in-universe voiceover instead of like an out-of-universe voiceover to the reader, which is good the first time, but having 3 of them gets to be a bit boring when we don't have like, when we haven't had like anything to we've had like an interesting scene, but it's like a third, maybe like a quarter of our scenes have been this, and they keep adding more, and I feel like it just slows the pace of the novel down, especially because it's like a lot of him speaking literal essays. Oh well. Furukuhara has done the same thing with the office of the Rikue Shogun. By claiming that Yamato is under constant threat, they have attempted to justify the indefinite exercise of war powers throughout the nation.
その根拠に使われたのはかの大阪虐殺だ。つまり奴らは一都市を応殺した挙句、その反乱を理由に支配権を強化したことになる。
The evidence they offer
惚れ
is
惚
the
れするほど
Osaka
合理
massacre.
的なやり方だな。
In other words, they slaughtered the inhabitants of an entire city and then used the rebellion as an excuse to grab power. Very pragmatic, don't you think?
これが六原支配の政治的な背景であり、強大な武力 GHQ の黙認と合わせてその統治を支える支柱と
This is the political foundation of Rokuhara's reign, which combined with overwhelming military might and GHQ's tacit approval has allowed them to...
Huh?
The door slides open, startling everyone in the room. Even more surprising is who sticks his dour-faced head inside.
教頭
Head teacher?
授業中に申し訳ない。鈴川君ちょっと来てくれ。校長がお呼びだ。
Excuse me for interrupting, Mr. Suzukawa. I need you to come with me to the principal's office. But the biggest surprise is what comes
新
next.
田君、稲木君、来野君、君たちもだ。来たまえ。
Nita, Inagi, Kurusuno, you 3 come too.
Huh?
Is the police asking for us? What's going on? Us? I guess they want us. Yeah, true. At this point, things are very far off of real life, so it's hard to tell what's going on. They might need to give us information to give us the status of the world, but I feel like that could be explained better to a character who it's relevant to. Because, I mean, they're explaining this to us, the reader. The characters sort of getting it, but they kind of live in an environment where everyone hates them, so they already kind of hate them. They didn't need a reason to do it, right? Like, the character doesn't need to know that because they already hate them, and they probably grew up in an environment where this was all common knowledge, right? It's probably common knowledge for it's probably common knowledge for all three of our current focused characters, like the protagonist and his friend and his cousin, that they killed everyone in Osaka basically for no reason. Or because they rebelled and they're like, yeah, this is what they do. If you do anything they don't like, they kill everyone in the city. And that should be obvious to us, the reader, because they fucking started the story with that. So I don't really know why they need to, like, reiterate that. Like, this scene didn't seem super important. Other than to deliver us here, right? Because this one was actually cut out. Which is kind of nice. At least it got cut off, presumably. As it starts here and goes a good while until there's an interruption. At least this one had a purpose. The previous ones kind of just went on and on until the info dump was over. I'd guess this one goes up from a C to like a C plus or a B. Because it actually led to something plot relevant. Assuming this is them getting out of school or something going on, or some information about Ritsu, like her body's been found or something like that. They're at least using the scene in a useful way, rather than just info dumping. So, good job not making me sit through 3 lectures for no reason, although you were basically done the lecture anyway. Only 2 kinds of students find themselves in this room on a regular basis. Those with exemplary records, and those at the top of the principal's shit list. I'm just a boring average student, so this is my first time here, not that there's anything special about the office, mind you. Yeah, it's pretty plain. This isn't a private school that caters to rich, influential families. The principal of a mid-tier public school isn't going to be sitting behind a giant ebony desk smoking a pipe. The room is unremarkable with minimal furnishings. The principal himself is equally lacking in cheer, but even if he were wearing a great big smile and had piles of candy on his desk, the matter he broaches would be enough to suck every ounce of joy from the room. Though to be honest, it's pretty much what I expected.
どこの誰からとは言わないが、学校に連絡があった。うちの学生が昨日、幕府お雇いの方々と路上でいさかいを起こしていたと。
I received a call just now, I won't say from who. Apparently a few of our students had an altercation with the Shogun's men yesterday. The head teacher is standing next to the principal with Suzukawa at our side. Needless to say, the principal's words are not directed at them.
君たちに間違いないか?
It was you 3, was it not?
Hi.
Yes. I answer, offering myself as the representative for the accused. The fact that all 3 of us were summoned here can only mean that the informant named names. There's no point trying to play dumb. Someone from the crowd yesterday probably called out of concern for our safety. It's exactly the sort of thing an upstanding citizen would do, and the last thing we needed.
けどそれはあいつらが
そのいさかいの内容に
I'm
つ
not
いて
interested in the
どうこう
details.
というつもりはない。
The principal cuts me off.
大事には至らなかったと聞いているからね。
It's like he already planned how this conversation is
実際
gonna go.
君たちはこうして無事だ。
I hear nothing serious happened, and the fact that the three of you are here proves that.
だからそのことはいい。
That's not the problem. The problem
問題は
is why it happened.
なぜそんなことになったかだ。
いやですからたまたま行き合った野木山の連中が
Like I said, some Nogiyama men were walking by, and
どうして君らはあんな場所にいたのだ？
why were you there in the first place? I can see where this is going. As long as it's about the incident with the gangsters, we have the advantage. They accosted us, after all. But this,
あの辺りには夜間営業の飲食店しかないはずだ。
that area is
君た
nothing
ち
but
には
bars
用
and
の
pubs.
ない場所だろ
What were you doing there at that
う。な
hour?
のになぜあんなところでうろうろしていた？
それは
Our presence there was clearly against the student code of conduct. Nothing I can say will change that. He's going to use this fact to steer the conversation in this direction. You're not allowed to be in the city? Is that the student code of conduct? That's a pretty vague thing. Also, we don't have an awareness of the student code of conduct because the story hasn't introduced it yet. Because I'd say, okay, I was out somewhere, I'm a student, and I didn't do anything illegal. I was accosted by 3 members of the yakuza. What do you want me to say? I can handle being scolded, but any punishment that would limit our movements would be disastrous. If the principal decides to suspend us and call our families, we wouldn't be able to keep looking for Ritsu. On the contrary, wouldn't you be able to continue looking for Ritsu because you're suspended and don't have to go to school? I could really use a clever excuse right now, but I'm coming up with nothing, and even Tadayasu, the one who usually gets us out on these things, is keeping his silence. He's probably judged that any attempt would be futile. I have no choice but to play into the principal's hands.
風間律を
Oh,
探
we
し
were
てい
looking
ま
for
した
Kazuma Ritsu.
そのようだな。学生数人があちこちで探偵まがいのことをして回っているという連絡も今週に入ってから数件寄せられていた。
I've already received calls about some of my students running around the city playing
君
detective.
たちだったわけだ。
That was you 3, wasn't it?
そのよ
So
う
it
です
would
ね
seem. His lead was perfect, getting me exactly where he wanted me with minimum effort. Even my attempts at sarcasm fell flat.
警察の仕事だ。
Leave it to the police. Well, actually, you see, the police requested my assistance, as they're having trouble lacking a liaison with the public, and, you know, the Yakuza damaging their reputation irreparably. Oh, wait. That's exactly how we got in this trouble in the first place. He doesn't even pretend to show sympathy. Aren't you supposed to start with, I understand how you feel or something? No, he's not.
警察に任せなさい。君たちがやることではない。
Searching for missing persons is their job, not yours.
けどそれじゃ
But they'll just...
大丈夫だ。
We're on the
警察は動いている。先日、上原教諭が校門前で私服警官に質問を受けたそうだ。
I heard from Mr. Uehara that a
だから
detective
心
questioned him
配
the
は
other
い
day.
らない。
You have nothing to worry about. Oh, that detective? You mean the detective we were literally waiting for? On the street corner? When we got attacked? Shh. Feel free to use him as a weapon. Come on. He's an asshole who's unreliable. He doesn't get it. He can't be trusted. Yeah, but you haven't said that. Oh boy, we're going into the good old Shiro moments. Or wait. Who was it that consistently refused to... Oh wait, it was, what's his face from Chaos Child, right? That absolutely refused to share information? Him and Keiichi? Both of those guys hate sharing information and are like, I'd rather die than tell you something that would resolve the plot.
君たちは学生であり、警察に協力することはできない。協力しているつもりでも、結果的には邪魔にしかならない。
As students, you're in no position to assist the police. If you try, you'll only get in the way. You know what's funny? This guy, I swear, this principal is giving them like every ammunition they need. Like he's explicitly giving them an argument. He's like, if it's like as a student, you can't help the police because you'll only get in the way. And then you can turn around and be like, actually, the guy asked for our help. We're actively helping the police. That would completely turn his own argument on its head. I'm curious if they'll actually be able to pick this up though, because he just used this argument twice in a row. I mean, he's a principal. He's isn't asking for an explanation at any point, so he's already decided they're guilty in what he's doing, and he's just like lecturing them, right? That's how people work. So it wouldn't really matter even if you had a good argument here to say like you had a legitimate reason, but the argument he is using you could easily shred to pieces if you wanted to.
それはつまり君たちにとっては大切な友人で私にとっては大事な教え子である風間くんをより危険な状況へ追いやるということだ。
You'll put Miss Kazuma, your dear friend, and my
理解で
precious
きるね。
student in even greater danger. Do you understand? Oh, are you implying... Wait. It's Ritsu Kazuma, right? Is he implying that he knows that the Yakuza have her? And they shouldn't mess with him because she'll be in even more danger? Huh. Alright. The phrasing says she goes in more danger, and it's like, dude, she's been gone for like 6 days. She's been gone for like 5-6 days at this point. The odds are she's probably dead. That would be the sensible thing to say. Be like, there's literally nothing you can do. She's probably dead. If he wants to be like super rude, just say she's fucking dead, man. My guts feel like they're on fire. Why does he have to be so goddamn right? Man, this guy's pretty bad. That said, he's in a tough position and arguing something he wasn't aware he had to argue. This stuff is also spaced out over the course of a day. It's easier when I'm seeing all the evidence in favor of our protagonist, and then 10 minutes later, having someone argue against him to recall the stuff I saw 10 minutes ago, whereas he has to recall what happened yesterday and the day before that and kind of put pieces together. The principal strategy is flawless. My god, man. Alright. He simply presents an airtight case devoid of impurities like empathy and compassion and demands our surrender. There's nothing I can do. I think our protagonist is just a dumbass, but maybe he just doesn't see it because he has to put it together. If only I just pretended to consider our position, I might have weaseled a few concessions out of him, but his cold hard logic means I can't even beg for scraps. It doesn't really matter, he's going to give you a punishment either way. That's usually how adults work. But if they're confronting you, their punishment is already decided. At this rate, he's bound to make us promise to refrain from further foolishness. We could continue our investigation even so, but if we're found to have broken our word, the school will come down on us like a ton of bricks. We'll probably be suspended and grounded for the next month. I can't let that happen.
でも、律は友達なんです。
This guy has like an entire... Sorry.
探さないと。
Finish your dialogue. This guy has like an entire essay here. And doesn't see how being suspended... Okay, if I'm pretty sure if one of my friends was like actually missing like this way and we thought like they'd been fucking kidnapped and I got suspended for being... If I got suspended by my high school for like being out looking for them or asking after them in town, my parents would be laughing their fucking asses off. They'd be like, alright, well I guess you got another 6 hours to do that if you're willing to walk. We're not gonna drive you anywhere, but go for it. I'm pretty sure that's what they'd do. Because that'd be like the dumbest thing to get suspended for. It's like I'm pretty sure they were like... I was talking with my parents, and one time after we got in trouble for snowball fighting, which didn't actually happen, and they were just like, if you got suspended for that, yeah, we don't care. We don't care. We don't care. It's like, yeah, they'll be reasonable, and certainly this is concerning. The bigger concern would be like if you're the one who's in danger of getting kidnapped or something. Oh, hello. How's it going, my dude?
繰り返すが、君たちのすることではない。君たちは学生であり、本文は学業だ。
It's not your job as students. Your only responsibility is to your studies. I mean, alright. That's not a very holistic approach to education. Very narrow. Very, narrow-minded. It's going well, just some writing. Oh. Oh, cool. You're writing something fun? Alternate history, perhaps? Since that's the genre we're in right now?
もちろん度を越さないなら放課後に遊ぶのは全く構わないことだ。
Of course.
だが君たちのしていることは遊びではないな。
I have no problem with you playing after school as long as you keep it within reasonable limits. However, what you've been doing isn't a game, is it?
だからやめなくてはならない。
That's why it needs to stop. Do you
私の言う
understand
こと
me?
が理解できているか？納得できないのなら言ってみなさい。言うことが何もないのなら今後は勝手な振る舞いをしないと約束してもらう。
Just writing books? Writing books has a lot of work. There's a lot of research that goes into writing books. Even if it's just random Google searches to figure out if something makes enough sense that someone wouldn't complain. Writing books is hard. Nonfiction's even harder, because then you need to start actually sourcing stuff. And you need to be like super creative if you're doing fiction. Oh, murder mysteries, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. Gotta make sure all the puzzle pieces fit together. I don't envy you, but I hope it turns out well. So if you're still not convinced, say so. If you have nothing more to add, then I'll need you to promise not to cause any more trouble. Well, this guy seems like a very narrow-minded person. If he says that students, your only responsibility is to your studies, then I'd say, okay, I don't need to do. So what about my responsibility to my family to like do my chores and things they request of me, or the other students in the class? Because in Japan you usually have to like clean up the classroom. Like that's not part of my studies. That's not my responsibility now. That's not something you'd probably say to the principal in this situation, though. Do I have 60 grand lying around to order a Yoshihara sword? No? Probably not. Assuming that buying a sword from a real blacksmith, a real Japanese swordsmith, is even legal in your country. That's the sword without ornamentation. Ooh. Still, 60 grand seems okay. I mean, it's really expensive, but you're getting what? A sword from the best modern swordsmith in Japan? That seems okay. That's basically almost a custom order. It might even be a custom order. Like you might be able to ask for specifics, like the length of the blade. It's the last legendary blacksmith in Japan, because there's like no blacksmiths in Japan anymore. There are only custom orders. Oh, so it is a custom 60 grand order. I mean, that seems cool. That seems like a sick present for someone who's like a multimillionaire. Like, yes, for the price of a moderately expensive car, you can like buy a car. You can buy a single sword. A sword you can't carry around in public anywhere. Except I think, actually, no, wait, can you carry... If you have them properly sheathed and have their documentation, you can carry them in Japan, but that would be like... But not for the purposes of, like, everyday carrying, right? Usually for transport somewhere. Because that would not be a short blade. You can display it at home. Yeah, probably. That would probably be at least 3 feet. Well over the acceptable length of a knife. And you aren't even supposed to carry like a pocket knife every day. It's like saying you're a weeb without saying it. Yeah, someone asks you where you got that and you're like, it's a custom order that cost It costs more than 50 grand, and they're like, oh. Oh. Yeah. Alright. Sure. Just promise. Okay, so what do you say here? Do you just promise not to cause any more trouble and not give a fuck? I just say it's coerced. Anytime someone coerces you into making a promise, it's not really. It's not. It has no bearing on your honor or respect.
どちらだ？黙っていてはわからない。
Well, which is it?
君たちもそろそろ
Silence tells
自
me
分の
nothing.
意見をはっきりと述べること。
You three are old
社
enough to
会
be
の
able to
規
speak
律
your
には
mind.
従うこと。
Follow the
そうい
rules.
った社会人のたしなみを身につけるべき年頃
And
だ。
carry yourselves like upstanding members of society. You should be old enough to do that. Promise stuff to sussy cliche headmaster. I know. The man's a walking cliche. What can we do?
不満そうに黙り込んで相手が許してくれるのを待つような甘えた態度はやめにしようか。
You can't just pout and expect to get your way. It's high time you stop acting like children. Wait, wouldn't the adult thing to do? Wait, I'm confused now. He's saying stop acting like a child. And I'm like, wouldn't the adult thing to do if you don't honestly think the police are going to actively look into it, be to look into it yourself? Make up your mind. I know he's speaking cliches. I know he's not speaking real lines. He's speaking cliches, and that's the cliche you say whenever they're trying to do something like this. But it's really funny to see that happen. And you're like, wait a minute, this line makes no sense. Don't act like a child. Act like an adult. Wait, I'm supposed to act like an adult. Then shouldn't I care about my missing colleagues? It's like, shouldn't that be important? And since I have enough of an understanding with the police to know they aren't actually doing any work, and that I was actively helping them, shouldn't I just continue doing it? Which is it? Am I an adult or a child? If I'm a child, I don't have responsibilities and shouldn't be doing it. If I'm an adult, I should be. But it's a cliche, so he's got to say that. Shit. What the hell's this? What he's saying makes sense. I haven't got the slightest room to argue. And our character, I know it's because he's on the spot, but it's really funny for him to just be like, oh, he's completely right. I don't know what to do. It's easier for us to evaluate because we're not in the situation. It's only by his logic and his values. He's just lucky enough to be in tune with the rest of society. Is he though? Because generally, I thought most of society was hated the Rokuhara, but was scared to do anything about them. Oh well. Do you have to be able to explain yourself for your values to be accepted? Do you have to follow other people's rules if you can? Of course you do. That's how this thing called society works, yeah? It means people who don't know how to explain themselves will never be accepted, no matter how strong their beliefs are. It's just like what's happening to me right now. The principal would probably say it's my fault for not being able to explain. Of course he would. That's what people who can always say... That's what people who can always say about people who can't. It's also what people in authority always say. Because he has authority over you and will immediately reject any of your opinions, even if they are correct. It doesn't really matter if your opinion's right or wrong. I've never seen someone called dumb as bread before. So good. Oh. That means only smooth talkers get ahead. Of course. That and those who can beat down anyone who gets in their way. What a coincidence. What a convenience. How convenient. The principal is exactly like that. He'll verbally bludgeon you down. Unless you can do one or the other, you've got no choice but to shut up and go along. Of course. Is that how society should work? Is it? Probably not. But it's the way society works. I know. Even if it's not perfect, it's better than the alternative. No one wants a world where guys like me call the shots. I know that. But how can I accept it now with my friend in danger?
言うべきことは何もないようだな。では、私の指示に従ってもらおう。
It looks like you have nothing to add. In that case, I trust you will follow the rules. One thing I appreciate about the visual novel format over anime is that it's even though our character is sounding like incredibly stupid here, and I think he's a dumbass, I appreciate that we at least get to see his perspective on this scenario instead of them just awkwardly remaining silent when prompted. A thought enters my mind unbidden. He understood me. He gave voice to what I couldn't.
今後は
From now on, you will...
待ってください、校長。
please wait, sir. The champion I so desperately needed turns out to be the last person I expected. Suzukawa?
なんだね。
What is it?
彼らは友人の身を案じて行動を起こしたのです。その点について考慮をするべきだと思いますが。
They acted out of concern for their friend. I believe that should be taken into consideration.
何を言いたいのかわからないが。
I don't see what you're getting at. The principal frowns, clearly displeased to have his mock trial thrown off course, and wraps his fingers pointedly against his desk.
姿を消した友人を心配して探偵の真似事をしていた。そんなことは分かっている。だからどうした？私が言っているのはな、その行動が規律に反しているということだぞ。
It's Kale's child. You can't trust reasonable teachers anymore.
その通りです。
Oh, didn't skip that up. I understand they started playing detective because they were worried about their missing friend, but what difference does that make? The issue is their actions are against school policy. What is this school policy? You're correct, and yet the fact remains they did nothing more than act to save their friend. I mean, there's a decent chance the teacher is a plant from the government there to root out the people who are suspicious or likely to act out of line and have them monitored. That would be like the most basic thing. They could also be like a murderer or something, who knows? There's plenty of things this teacher could be, considering he has a sprite and keeps showing up.
それでも彼らは友人を案じ、友人を救うために行動を起こしただけなのです。
You're correct, and yet the fact remains they did nothing more than to act to save their friend.
それは間違ったことなのでしょう
Is
か。
that the wrong thing to do?
何？
What? Inconceivable! The principal gapes. He must not have considered the possibility of resistance from this quarter, but then again, neither did I.
そういう問題ではない。彼らの行動が周囲に迷惑を与えている。その点が問題なのだ。
Doesn't matter, their selfish actions are making trouble for others. That's the issue here.
いえ、校長。それは問題の一面です。
No, that's
問題の
only
す
part
べ
of
て
the
ではあり
issue.
ません。公平を期すならば、異なる観点からも事情を鑑みるべきです。彼らが友人を助けるために行動を起こしたということ。これをどう評価するか。
In the interest of fairness, we must look at the issue from all sides. How would you assess the fact they acted to protect their friend?
何を言い出すのだ君は。学校には苦情が来ているのだぞ。誠意のある対応をしなければ学校の信用が失われる。それは分かっているのか？
What are you talking about? The school's been getting complaints. If we don't respond in good faith, it'll tarnish our reputation. Do you understand what's at stake here? Wait, isn't this like a bottom tier school? What reputation do you have? And you're getting complaints from who? From who? The yakuza? Who's complaining? Like just think, who complained? It's probably the guy in the white tux who called their school or had some of his goons call the school to like get you in trouble because he's salty. Like, it's like so silly. Oh my goodness.
誠意ある対応。
Good faith, I couldn't agree more. However, I believe
それは苦情を鵜呑みにしたりせず、
yeah.
学生側の事情も考慮した上で、最善の解決策を探ることではないかと思いますが。
Considering the student's position as well and not taking those complaints at face value is what truly constitutes acting in good faith. I mean, just think of it. If the teacher or the principal acted on every single complaint, can you imagine how much power Karens would have? It would be, that would be absolutely, oh wait, that would be exactly real life. Fudge. God damn it. Stop being too real. Karen's ruining everything with their power of complaining. Oh boy. It's like these. You can just imagine it now, right? You can imagine it like this. I know it's in this 20th century Karen just like going into the school and be like, I saw these students of yours. They were asking questions. Their friend is missing. How dare they question her missing? They should just accept she died yesterday. And it's like, excuse me? And the principal's like, you mean they were asking around after their missing friend who might be dead or kidnapped? Wow, absolutely crazy. Who would do that? We'll take care of this right away, Karen. And we don't want anyone to do crazy things like have friends. That would be bad.
違いますか？
Am I wrong? The principal's mind is currently being blown. The principal stares wide-eyed at Suzukawa, yet says nothing. The head teacher, too, is dumbstruck. I didn't see this coming. Sure, Suzukawa is chill for a teacher, and he's respected by the students. He's even got hardcore fans like Konatsu. But I doubt even Konatsu expected him to go to bat for us against the principal. Her stunned expression states as much.
私には彼らの行動には理解すべき部分が十分にあると思われます。姿を消した友人を探し出すために自ら行動する。
Is it so strange
そこに何の不思議があるでしょうか？
that they would try to find their missing friend? I believe their actions are perfectly understandable. I mean, think of it this way. They are doing it out of school time instead of on school time. You might have an argument if they were skipping school to do this. They've all been attending class.
まして警察などは手にできないとなれば
Especially since the police are useless.
口を慎め、鈴川両部。
That's enough, Suzukawa.
この口は事実を告げただけなのですがね。いや、失礼。
Speak only the truth.
い
Though
さ
I
さ
should
か下品な
apologize
言いよ
for
うでし
the
た。
tactless way I presented it.
彼らの担任ということで同席願ったのだが、私に君と議論をするつもりはない。邪魔をするなら退出してくれ。
I asked you here as a courtesy since you're their teacher. I'm not going to argue with you. If you intend to interfere, I'll ask you to leave. Well, what is our name? I just forgot our protagonist's name. Yuri? Yuta? As he said, it's a mock trial anyway. And that's an appropriate response to something that's a mock trial. To someone interfering in his mock trial.
あいにくですが校長、私は無関係ではありません。うぬぼれ混じりに言わせていただければ、私は友人の危機を黙って見過ごしてよしとするような教育を施していないつもりです。
But I already am involved, sir, and I'm their teacher if I may be so bold. I don't teach my students to abandon their friends in need.
ですので、彼らの行動については私にも責任があると言えます。
Therefore, I too bear responsibility for their actions. Hold on a minute. You sure about this? You really gonna stick your neck out for us?
嬉しいけどさ。
What's his motive? I mean, I really appreciate it. But can a regular teacher go toe-to-toe with the principal and emerge unscathed? No way. Yeah, say goodbye to your chance at getting tenure. You're probably getting let go from this school at the end of the year.
君の教育についてはいろいろ聞いている。
I've heard much about your teaching methods. The principal's tone tells me my fears are right on the money. His voice is as cold as winter.
しばしば不適切な方向へ進む嫌いがあるとか。そう、そのことについて君とは話し合わねばならなかった。話を早くしてくれて助かるな、鈴川くん。
For example, that on occasion your lectures take an entirely inappropriate turn. In fact, I've been meaning to discuss this with you. I'm glad you provided the opportunity.
で
Alright.
は、もっと早くして差し上げましょう。
Allow me to make it easier for you. Suzukawa doesn't even flinch at the principal's thinly veiled threat. There's even pride in his voice as he continues.
私は六原に家族を奪われていますから、どうしても体制側より体制に抑圧される側に心情が寄ります。
That was a bold statement. Rokuhara took my family from me, and I cannot help but sympathize with the oppressed over the oppressors.
その点はどうかご容赦ください。
I hope you can understand. That's a very bold statement. Which makes this guy even more suspicious. The principal is a walking, talking cliche, but this guy is way too suspicious. He's like, wow, this guy seems really good. So what's the secret? The principal's just saying like, shit, this guy actually he said that out loud to me. Is he trying to go to jail? Alright, principal's dead silent. Yeah, everyone's shocked. Yuhi's shocked. Everyone knows the story. Suzukawa had a wife and daughter, both of whom are now dead. They weren't killed by Rokuhara troops or anything like that, but if it weren't for the food shortages and price run-ups on medicine caused by Rokuhara's excessive taxes, a simple flu probably wouldn't have killed them. That's why Suzukawa sometimes lets his anger at Rokuhara slip into his lectures. At least, that's what everyone whispers when he's not listening, and I'm sure the principal heard it too. He probably assumed that Suzukawa would not want to touch on his painful past, and was aiming to use it to back him into a corner, a sort of outboxing, if you will. Suzukawa, however, is the consummate infighter. In a flash, the range between the combatants has shrunk to nothing.
我が家族ながら妻と娘は美しかった。見た目形ではなく心ね、生きる姿がとても美しかったのです。
I hate to brag, but my wife and child were truly beautiful. Not just in form, their hearts, their lives, everything about them was a wonder to behold.
失われたことが惜しい。今なお諦めきれないほど。ですが取り戻すことはできません。死者は生き返りません。
I regret their loss every second of every day. Even now, it still pains me to think of them, but I know that nothing I do will bring them back. The dead do not return, not ever.
願いと現実の相反は私を苛みました。最初にすがったのは宗教。校長、あなたはご存知でしたね。幕府禁制のキリスト教です。
At first, the reality of their death tortured me, and I turned to religion for solace. The prohibited Christian religion, as you know. Was he a priest at some point? Of an underground church? Do we have another sketchy priest?
幾度かご忠告をいただきましたが、信仰以外に己を自暴自棄から守る方法がなかったもので、申し訳ありません。
This guy just freely admitting to crimes?
教会へ通っています。
This guy wanna go to jail? I swear. You warned me many times to give it up, but faith was all that kept me from succumbing to despair. I must apologize. Even now, I still go to church once a week. Verbatim, prohibited Christian religion, goes to church once a week. Literally admitting that he knows he's not only following an illegal religion, but he knows other people who do too. And meets them once a week. My god, this guy. To be precise, Christianity isn't exactly prohibited. Even Rokuhara can't outlaw GHQ's favorite religion as long as an army of Western Musha is camped on their doorstep. It's true, however, that the shogunate does not look fondly upon Western culture and has secretly been coming down hard on Christian enclaves in Yamato. What kind of punishment might a public official suffer were he to practice Christianity openly? He'd get lucky to be just get blacklisted.
信仰は私の支えになってくれました。しかし、救いにはなりませんでした。
My faith supported me, but it did not offer salvation.
だから私は教職を続けたのです。田舎で静養することを勧めてくれた友人もいましたが、失ったものを取り戻せないなら、私はせめて新しい何かが欲しかった。
So I continued to work as a teacher, though my friends implored me to rest. If I could not regain what I'd lost, at least I wanted to create something new. This guy has quite the monologue about his entire life's history already.
妻や娘のような美しい人間を育てる。私はそう誓って教師として再出発したのです。その誓いのために私はここにいるのです。
I swore to raise beautiful children. Children who shone like my wife and daughter once did, and that's why I returned to this profession and why I'm here today.
Suzukawa-kun.
Suzukawa. If Suzukawa's words are fists, the principal is his punching bag.
Suzukawa-kun.
But
しかし
he chokes out while loosening his
私
tie.
は学生たちに美しくあってほしいのです。友人の窮地を見過ごすような人間であってほしくないのです。
I want my students to be beautiful and kind, not the sort of people who would ignore a friend's peril.
しかしだ
But,
校長、
principal. Suzukawa fixes his boss with a stare, eyes practically glowing with will.
どうかお答えください。教師は学生に友人の危機に直面したとき、何もするなと教えるべきなのでしょうか。
Tell me one thing, should we teach our students to turn away from a friend? Principal's only answer should be yes. After all, that is exactly what he's been saying the whole time. But that is the one answer he cannot give. Not with Suzukawa looking him in the eye. I have to admit there's something contemptible about Suzukawa's strategy. Of course. He's using his dead wife and kid as a bludgeon. To use your own misfortune as a weapon is, unless your target's the one responsible for that misfortune, an undeniably ignoble course of action. It strikes at the other person's conscience, forcing them to invalidate either your suffering or their own beliefs. It's a weak man's violence. But Suzukawa isn't the sort of person to do this regularly. In fact, this is the first time I've ever heard him speak of his past. And it's also the first I've heard about this oath of his, even in rumor. He probably never told anyone before now. Why did he choose to reveal it now? Not out of a sudden desire to curry sympathy with the principal, he's doing it to help us. No, to protect us, to protect the beauty he treasures. It's hard to believe there's something like that inside of us, but Suzukawa apparently believes enough to bear the shame of wielding a coward's weapon. I know he's a proud man, and this can't be easy for him. Dude, this should be like a slam dunk for the freaking principal. Like, the man just admitted to, like, you know, multiple, you know, not quite crimes, but things that'll easily get the Rokuhara to break down your door and beat the shit out of you until you quit your job or kill yourself. Or they'll just send the yakuza after you because they're working with the yakuza just like the Japanese government was in the 20th century, so not really a surprise. Not really a surprise, but they're working with the yakuza, so all they do is he says this guy's attending a church regularly and a believer and blah blah blah, and they're like, well, okay, we can't do, I mean, that's not illegal, we can't do anything. 1 second, I'm gonna put you on hold. Put them on hold. Hey, yakuza guys, you want to break into someone's house? You know, kneecap him real quick? Thanks. And thus, this guy's taken care of. Real easy. That's how it goes. It's not illegal, we just have the yakuza do it. And they're criminals. They'd never take orders from the government. That'd be crazy. I can't really empathize with the sacrifice this man's making. I mean, I imagine how it must feel, but I'm sure that's nothing compared to the real thing. In any case, I know I should apologize or thank him, but which? Unable to decide, I let the words come as they may.
Sensei.
Mr. Suzukawa?
ごめん。
Sorry.
謝るな。
Oh, don't be. Suzukawa smiles and shakes his head. Looks like I made the wrong choice. No one scolds us for this impromptu exchange. The battle is already over. And thus, on the condition he'll accompany us everywhere we go, Suzukawa secures our freedom. After school, we fill Suzukawa in on what we've learned so far. It was his idea, and he wants to help, not just to keep an eye on us. And of course, we welcome his support. Though I have this strange feeling someone ran their mouth off last night about how they weren't going to trust anyone ever again. Yeah, other than your friends. Interesting how that goes. Probably just my imagination. Definitely wasn't us.
奴隷売買とはな。眉唾の話だが、笑い
Suzukawa
飛ばせは
mutters
しない
after
か。
Tadayasu finishes his
今の世
explanation.
情を思えば。
It seems a stretch, but not so much considering the world we live in. Why do they jump to their conclusions saying this is the evidence we have? It's so weird that all everyone remarks on is that they ranted about the slave trade. It's like, did you give him the evidence you have for like what's going on and let him come to his own conclusions? I would be mad, or more mad, that they didn't do this for their teacher. But to be fair, the teacher is also giving conclusions in class instead of information. And like the conclusions of generally accepted authorities on the subject. Right? Like,
笑い
okay.
飛ばしたいところなんですけどね。本当にそうだとしたら正直少しばかり厄介なんじゃないかと思うんで。
I wish it were harder to believe. If it's true, then we've got a bit of a problem, don't we?
海外へ運ばれては、 そうだな。厄介だ。
Yes, if she's been taken overseas, we have a problem. Especially because we're like a week behind at this point. Like, we're really far behind. We aren't catching up anytime soon. More than just a problem, I think. But I guess they're understanding it deliberately. Yes, a problem. Well, it seems like you're most of the way to a world government, so... I guess it depends on how hard it is to travel. But Yamato's ultra poor right now, so traveling's probably impossible. It seems like something cold and slimy is crawling through my gut. What if it's too late? What if she's already gone? The thought makes me want to
だ
scream.
が、案外そう悲観したものではないかもしれな
Things
い
might
な。
not be so bleak.
え？
What do you mean?
幕府が本当にそんな無法なことをしていたとして、それは当然許しがたいことだが、他の事故や犯罪の可能性よりも風間の無事はむしろ期待できるかもしれない。
If the shogunate really is kidnapping people to sell as slaves, it's a terrible crime, of course, but one that carries a greater chance of Kazuma being alright than do most other possibilities.
それは
That's a little... That would mean she's not dead.
いや、ま
I mean,
でも-
maybe... True, slaves are only valuable so long as they're alive, but still... How can you say that? You're the ones who brought up the slave trade. You guys are obsessed with slaves. I swear, are they adding slaves to every alternate history now? They already did that to like half of all isekais. It's like every other isekai that airs in anime, airs in Japan, sorry. It's like every isekai that airs in Japan that's animated. I swear, every single one of them. Slaves somewhere. Everyone's gotta have slaves. They don't need to be an essential part of society, but they have to have them in like the first episode or something. It's like a requirement, I swear. Alright, so where Tadayasu and I give non-committal responses, Konatsu wheels around with the spear and spears Suzukawa with a glare. It's rare, no, unheard of for her to confront him like this.
うちってそんなの無知じゃないです。物みたいに扱われて売り買いされて、そんなの死んだも同然じゃないですか。
To be treated like a thing to be bought and sold, it's no better than being dead.
死ぬよりひどいじゃないですか。
It's even worse. I can hardly believe that moments ago she seemed divided between flirting with Suzukawa and worrying about Ritsu. Now there's only anger, pure and simple in her expression.
実はそういうの誰よりも嫌がる子です。あの子はいつも好き勝手に振る舞ってバカな騒ぎばかり起こして、けど年上もただ
Ritsu values freedom more than anyone. She's always causing trouble and she's nosy and
一
bossy.
緒にいると楽しくて。
It's always fun having her around.
落ち着け、小夏。
Oh, it's alright, Kanatsu. I rest my hands gently on her shoulders. Someone has to calm her down when she gets like this, and usually that duty falls to me.
そうか。
So that's how you feel.
クルソノはそういう考え方をするんだな。
Suzukawa is surprised but not upset. He looks at the sniffling Konatsu, as though seeing her for the first time.
人間なのに物扱いされて生きるのは死ぬよりもひどいことか。
For a human being to be treated like a thing is a fate worse than death.
先生の考えは違いますか？やっぱり生きることが一番重要、生命最強、命is more heavy than 地球ってわけですか？
You don't agree? Living is number one. Survival is all important. Life weighs more heavily than the Earth on the great cosmic scale. What the hell is the great cosmic
い
scale?
や、人間ただ生きていればいいというものではないと思う。どう生きるかが重要だ。
I don't think human
生きる
beings
な
should
ら
be
ば
content with
良
survival.
い生き方を志すべきだ。
It's how you live that's important. We should all try to live or lead good, worthy lives.
その結果が死であるとしても。まあ、クルスノに近い考え方だろうな。
I suppose you, even if death is our only reward, I suppose you could say I agree with Kurusuno.
え？ じゃあ、
というかだな。
That's not what I meant
さっ
by
きの
alright.
はそういう意味で言ったんではなく、
Suzukawa rubs his chin, looking slightly abashed.
風間を無事に助け出せるかもしれないと言いたかったんだ
I
が。
was saying might be a chance to rescue Kazuma. That's right, if they're not dead, there is a chance they can be saved.
それは一体どういう？
What do you mean? They're also in a port city, right? If they're in a port city, that means there has to be a ship that leaves. Either that or they're taking the train, and the trains are too expensive.
六原が奴隷として売却するために市民を拉致しているのなら、拉致した後はどうすると思う？
Assuming Rokuhara is involved in the slave trade, what's the first thing they do after abducting a victim? Nita.
はい。
Damn, I definitely didn't expect him to start class in the middle of the street. After a second or two of panic, I instinctively snap to attention and say the first thing that comes to mind.
そりゃまあ、国内でそんな商売をやってるとも思えませんから、港へ運んでそこから船で海外へ送るんじゃないでしょうか。
They can't trade people in Yamatos, so I guess they take them to the nearest port and ship them overseas?
一人捕まえるたびにか？
One person at a time?
はい。
No.
Huh?
Yes, no. Wait a second.
いや、
Obviously, they ship them like freight in bulk. One person at a time, so that's what Suzukawa's getting at.
そうか。
You mean
一人ごとにそんな手間のかかることをしていられるわけがないから、数が集まるまではきっと国内のどこかに監禁されているはずだってことですね。
he's very right if that's what you assume. There's no way they'll ship them one at a time, so they have to be keeping them locked up here until they have enough to move. Very true. If you want to assume that it's human trafficking, they probably wouldn't do it one at a time. That would be inefficient. But that said, if they're the government, if they're actually run by the government, they might just put them on a train, assuming that the train runs by. And since the relative cost of actual fuel is dirt cheap, I assume it's a government-run railroad that they're just charging arms and legs for, so that to restrict mobility of the populace, so they can't rally against them, given how disliked they are. It's probably an intentional thing, so like no one operating legitimately can actually afford the train, rather than the train costing $1 gazillion to run. Right? Because it was what, 3 months' wages for a trip on the train? It was more than 3 months' wages for a trip on the train. So, I assume that is probably too expensive for the cost of anything to function. So it's especially the train. There's no way you build a train and then get so little value out of it, or have fuel cost that much. Unless you're actually in like a drastic supply shortage of like coal or whatever they're running the trains on. They have computers though, so they might be running electric trains, in which case I still don't know what their problem is with that. Let me say it. Why do you always have to steal the spotlight? You have it in for me or something?
そういうことだな。奴隷とやらにいくらの値がつくのかは知らないが、ピストン輸送では採算がうまいし、リスクも高くなる。
Seems likely. I don't know how much slaves go for, but I doubt it's worth the cost and risk of shipping them one at a time.
どこか人目につかない場所に倉庫があるはずだ。
You must have a warehouse of
手
some
がかり
sort
をたどっ
somewhere.
てそこまで行きつければ、あるいはどうにかできるかもしれない。
If we can track it down, we might be able to save her. Suzukawa's voice is not as hopeful as it could be, and his expression remains stolid. Still, I feel like everything makes sense now. Now that he's spelled it out for us, I wonder why we didn't think of it sooner. It must be because we're just kids, though it pains me to admit it. I was afraid to really think about Ritsu being sold into slavery, so I missed what should have been obvious. Who can I help like this? I have to be willing to face the truth, even when it hurts. Hope and shame battle inside me, and I get the impression Tadayasu feels the same, even though his face is totally blank. Konatsu, on the other hand, is absolutely beside herself.
Sensei.
Oh, Mr. Suzukawa, you're amazing!
オーバーだな、クルスのは。
You're overreacting. I just
特に
came
奇
to
抜
the
な
natural
発想を披露し
conclusion.
たわけじゃないぞ。
He just came to a simple conclusion.
やっぱり先生は違います。このガン首揃えて無駄に空気吸って光合成してるだけのふんころがしどもとはもう何もかも。私、先生のこと信じてました。
Not at all. You're so much smarter than these two dung beetles. They're just total wastes of light and air. What with their stupid breathing and photosynthesis? I knew you'd come through. They're plants. They're plants now.
そうか。
Thanks. You've been reduced to that of a plant.
見てごらん、ただやす。さっき誤解して食ってかかっていたやつがなんか言ってますよ。
Tadayasu, she's acting like she didn't bite his head off a few seconds ago.
あれが人間の強さというものだよ、ユーヒ。人は辛い過去を忘れることで一歩前へ進む生物なんだ。それにしても、小夏の場合はちょっと忘却のサイクルが早すぎる気が
That's
す
what
る
it
け
means
ど
to be
ね。
human, my friend. By forgetting our shameful past, we can keep moving forward, though in Konatsu's case, I think her cache is a little too small.
じゃあ先生、これからどうしましょ
So what should we do next?
そうだな。とりあえず現場らしい竹林をよく調べてみるべきだと思うんだが。
First, I think we should go to the bamboo grove and have a closer look at the scene of the crime.
その前に病院へ行く必要が生じたような気もしま
For that, I
す。
think we need to take a quick trip to the hospital.
それから動物園によって猛獣を引き取ってもらう必要もあるような気がします。
And then we should stop by the zoo to see if they'll take a wild animal off our hands. Looks like shame triggers Konatsu's berserk mode,
しかし、
but still. As we start walking, Suzukawa continues, though it's almost like he's talking to himself.
どこまでも醜い世の中だ。奴隷貿易なんてものが本当にあるのかはわからないにしても、
How ugly this world is, even if it turns
存
out to be
在を本
false.
気で疑われるなど、
The fact that we have to suspect such a thing.
自分の国をここまで信頼できないとは、
Never thought I'd one day
こんな
lose
ことに
faith
なる
in my
などと
country.
昔は思いもしなかった。いずれは白昼堂々と奴隷売買が行われるような国になってしまうかもしれない。な。
Perhaps there'll even come a time when slaves are traded
Yamato.
openly, here in Yamato. Suzukawa, that's right. I keep forgetting he grew up in Yamato before the Rokuhara took over. Rokuhara has been here for as long as we can remember, and for us, living under their thumbs a normal, if entirely unwelcome, part of everyday life. But Suzukawa is different. He had to watch the old Yamato torn down before his eyes. It must be hard to live with.
大丈夫です先生
Don't worry, Sensei. Konatsu exclaims, trying to make up for her earlier mistake.
安心してください。もし先生が奴隷にされても私が買いますから
If you get sold into slavery, I promise I'll buy you. It doesn't work
い
though.
や、買われても困るんだが。
I'd prefer not to be sold at all.
じゃあ私が奴隷になるから買ってください
Then I'll be the slave and you can buy me. Wasn't she just saying that was a fate worse than death? Like 2 minutes ago?
クシュ
I'll call you Mess.
落ち着け小夏。いや頼むから本当に落ち着け。
Get hold of yourself seriously, you're starting to scare
君
me.
は暴走している。
You've gone off the deep end. I'm starting to think we should make a run for it. Warning, adding Suzukawa, desperate bootlicking, and genuine concern to Kurusu no Konatsu can cause her to explode. Do not mix. Suzukawa chuckles at our antics and looks away, his expression unreadable.
醜い世の中。だからこそ、美しいものは
This world is
大
ugly.
切にしなくてはならないのだ。
That's why we must treasure the few things of beauty that remain,
大切に。
no matter what.
ここか。
In before, he's like the least subtle rebel, and it's like a repeat of the first scene in the series where everyone gets freaking killed. Is this it? Yep. We lead Suzukawa to the circle of severed stalks within the bamboo grove.
風間の姿が最後に確認されたのがこの竹林。ほぼ同時刻に武者らしき影の目撃報告。
Azuma was last seen entering this grove. A witness places a musha here at approximately the same
そ
time.
して港という警官はこの荒れざまを見て武者の仕業だと断定したのか。
And the police officer, Minato, he looked at this damage and was certain a musha did it?
そんな様子でしたね。
What it sounded like.
根拠は
Based on?
なんて言ってたっけ。
What did he say?
なんだったかな。確か切り口が綺麗すぎるとか言ってたと思うけど。
If I remember correctly, he said something about the cuts being way too clean.
うん。
Suzukawa approaches the bamboo and kneels, examining the cut stalks like Officer Minato did
な
yesterday.
るほど。鮮やかに断ち切られている。普通の人間がどんな刃物を使ってもこうはいかないというわけか。
I see, the cuts do seem awfully smooth. I
他に
suppose
は
a
何か言っていたか。
normal person couldn't do this, even with the sharpest sword. Did he say anything else?
移動方法について疑問を持っていたようでした。どこからどう入ってきて
questions.
どう去ったのか。
About the Musha's movements, how it came and went.
ええ。武者は飛べますけど 飛んできたわけがないんすよね。だったらかなりの騒音が辺りに響いたはずなんで。
Musha can fly, but he ruled it out because of the noise it would make.
でも走行したまま歩いて出入り、じゃあ見せ物も同然となると、生身で侵入して中で走行したとしか考えられないですけど。
He said the Musha may not. He said couldn't have. I would have suggested saying may not have come on foot in full armor either. Someone would have seen he had to have come unarmored, then equipped his tsurugi here.
行きはそれでいいとして、帰りはどうしたのか、律をどうやって目立たないように運び出したのか。
Then there's the problem of how he
大
carried
体こん
Ritsu
な方
out
向で考
without
えてい
being
たっぽい
seen.
です。
That's as far as he got.
うん。
Suzukawa folds his arms for a second and looks up at the sky for a few seconds, then turns back to us and says,
抜け道でも使ったんじゃないかと。
so he thinks the Musha used a secret passage. That is an option. A secret passage is always theoretically an option. Although based on our newfound knowledge that they don't actually disrupt the environment when moving, despite their weight due to magic bullshitium, they might be able to just walk out, because they could also apparently leap like several meters in the air easy and just run on buildings without making noise. So, you know, could be possible if they just use the rooftops. I mean, we literally had a scene where they were standing on leaves. Leaves! A suit of power armor standing on the leaves of a tree. Or I guess bamboo, in this case. Like, how much anti-gravity do you need to not disrupt the leaves of a tree and balance on them? That's a lot, right? Certainly nothing we can make can land on a leaf and use it for balance.
え、いや、
そういう話は聞かなかったと思いますけど。
I don't remember him saying anything like that. The sudden jump in the conversation throws us off.
そう言いたいように聞こえたんだが、違うのか。
That's where it sounds like he was headed, am I wrong?
いや、どうでしょうね。
Can't say. There might be a secret passage somewhere.
どこぞの忍者屋敷だってんならともかく、ただの竹林ですし、ここは。
I mean, maybe if it were an ancient castle or something, but it's just a bamboo grove.
田中のじいさんなら侵入者撃退用にいつの間にか掘ってても不思議じゃないけどね。
I mean, I can't imagine old Tanaka digging a maze of tunnels to get behind intruders. That seems legit. This guy seems crazy enough.
いや、そんなまだるっこしいものを作るくらいなら、ガトリングガンでも配備するんじゃないかな。
That's not his style. He'd just set up a Gatling gun. Yeah, whether he'd actually do it is one thing, but I can definitely see him choosing the more aggressive option. Stealth, not this guy's strat. Better watch for spike pits.
そうか。
I see.
まあいい。
Never mind about that. Suzukawa still seems unsure about something, but he stands and gives us our next mission anyway.
手分けして手がかりを探そう。足跡なんかは今更無理だろうが、犯人なり風間なりの遺留品なら見つけられるかもしれない。
Let's split up and look for leads. I doubt there's still a trail after all this time, but we might find something Kazuma or her kidnapper dropped.
了解っす。
Roger. Tadayasu, Kanatsu, and Suzukawa head off into the grove. They must be going slow and careful because the only sound I hear is the soft rustling of bamboo leaves beneath their feet. I stay at the scene to check for anything we might have missed. Why do we assume the scene where there's this big cut is where she got captured? And not like on a trail? It could be like a few feet off. It could easily be several meters out. Because if it was the suit of power armor taking a swing at her, she'd be cut in half. Easy. Because we've seen these things cut through cars. Or sorry, a truck. And we've seen them bisect people. Vertically. So if it was cutting through her, she would be dead. There'd also probably be blood there, so presumably she wasn't hit by this. Unlike Tadayasu, who can read a textbook from the other side of the classroom, my eyesight is totally average. I don't want to miss anything, so I get down on all fours and crawl. It sucks, but you gotta do what you gotta do. As soon as my face touches the dirt, a sense of deja vu washes over me. I've been in this position before. When was it? Oh, yeah. Oh, good evening. It was when we were playing tag in the woods behind the school. I was crawling through the underbrush to get away from Ritsu, who was it. She found me, of course. That was the worst tagging experience I'd ever had. Suddenly, this great weight dropped on my back, crushing me into the ground.
とってもお似合いの格好でしたよ、ユイさん。さあ、大きな声でブヒッとお泣き。鼻声でやるのがポイントよ。
Oh, this position suits you, Yuhi. Now oink for me, and you'd better make it convincing. Oh, the Serenity outfit for the Fate Granddaughter Idol event? Yeah, that one's gonna look good. I'm looking forward to the Ushi one the most.
馬ですらねえのかよ、いきなり豚かよ。
Couldn't I at least be a horse? Why'd I have to be a pig? You know, it's a bad memory when you start shouting at it like a lady listening to soaps on the radio. What the hell's wrong with Ritsu anyway? I look up, needing some sun to relieve the depression triggered by the sudden flashback, and at that moment something catches my eye. Small and white, I take it for a stone at first glance. I recognize it. It's a dolphin-shaped pendant, the one that always hangs from Ritsu's bag. I pick it up. Definitely hers. It's only the head. The cut is perfectly smooth, like the bamboo. At second glance, it's a rather horrifying sight. The stench of blood fills my nostrils, and for an instant the dolphin's severed head takes on the features of my friend.
やった。
I close my fist tight around the keepsake. The vision persists. I shut my eyes. Now there's only darkness. Good. Darkness is good. Right now, I don't want to see anything.
Nita.
Nita?
Eh?
When I snap out of it, Suzukawa is there, looking curiously at my clenched fist.
何かあったのか?
Did you find something?
いえ。
No, nothing. I found no evidence whatsoever. Okay. I'm gonna give him 2 more lines. I'm gonna give our Nita like 2 lines of dialogue to come up with an excuse. Or I'm just gonna call him... I'm gonna call him like Taku 2.0. This guy... 3.0, sorry. As you literally found evidence, and your first response to anyone asking if you found something is, nah, I found nothing. I can't bring myself to speak of what I found. It's not like it'll help us find her anyway. What? Come on, he's got 1 more line. Izukawa doesn't pursue it, though I can tell he knows something's wrong. He just glances once more at my fist and then looks
面白い
away.
ものを見つけたぞ。
Well, I found something.
手がかりですか。
You did?
何です。
見てもらった方が早いな。
Faster to
他の
show
2
you.
人も呼んできてくれ。
Go get the others.
はい。
Okay. Time's up. It's Taku 2.0, 3.0, whatever you want to call him. Dear freaking God. Imagine finding evidence that your friend who you thought might be kidnapped or dead was actually at the scene of the crime that you thought they were killed or captured at. And you're like, I didn't find shit. Alright, that's
川
a river?
というか地下水脈だね。
An underground river. As always, Tadayasu hits the nail on the head. Suzukawa led us to a gentle slope leading to the side of Mount Genjiyama, and there's an opening in the slope like a miniature valley or perhaps a yawning mouth. Inside, I see water rushing past. It's flowing pretty fast and the water looks deep. An underground water vein must have broken through the surface. They say rivers like this are everywhere beneath the surface of the earth.
そっか。この音弁天川から聞こえてきていたわけじゃなかったん
That's
だ。
what it was. I thought I was hearing the Benten River all this time.
俺もそう思ってたよ。まさかこんなとこにこんな
I
も
had
ん
no
がある
idea
と
there
は
was
な。
something like this. No matter where you are in the grove, you can always hear the sound of running water, and come to think of it, it's a little too loud to be from the Benten River, which is at least half a kilometer away and usually very quiet.
うまい感じに地面のデコボコで隠れちゃってるし、少し離れたらもう見えないよ。
Bumpy ground
こんな
hides
の
it
誰も
perfectly.
知らなかったんじゃない？
You think anyone knows about it?
少なくともここが田中帝国になってから見た人間は誰もいないだろうね。
Oh, I doubt anyone laid eyes on it since this became old Tanaka's empire. Tadayasu seems impressed, and so am I. You never know what you'll find in your own backyard.
面白いものってのはこ
Is
れで
this
すか。
what you want to show us?
先生。
A crucial piece of the geography that could suggest an exit route for Ritsu, assuming she's alive? Of course. I'll just refrain from commenting on our character's poor decision-making abilities.
つまらんか
Disappointed?
いや
I mean-
だって
I'm assuming Suzukawa didn't bring us here to give a lecture on geology, in which case he thinks this could be the hidden passage he was talking about. True, the opening does look big enough to allow a grown man passage, as does the tunnel itself, but the current is pretty intense and I expect the going to be rough. I'm not sure this would be an effective escape route.
まさかボートを使ってここを下っていったんだとか言わ
You
ない
don't
っすよ
think he
ね
used a boat, do you?
個人的見解だけど潜水艦の方が無難なんじゃない
Like
か
a
な。
submarine would be more appropriate? Unlikely. If it's barely enough to fit a grown man, that would not be enough space to operate a submarine, especially if there's a strong current.
入らない入らない。
It wouldn't fit, silly.
そんなものはいらんさ。忘れたのか？犯人は常人じゃない。
He wouldn't need a boat or a submarine. Have you forgotten? We're not dealing with a normal kidnapper.
武者なら
A Musha.
平気で動けるね。こんな川くらい。下流だろうと上流だろうと。
It'd have no trouble swimming in this current upstream or down. Even while carrying another person, for a Musha granted superhuman strength by his Tsurugi, the feat would probably be as effortless as flying.
じゃあ犯人は本当にここから
Why are these guys jumping to so many conclusions? We found a river. Clearly they used it. Like, okay.
律をさらって。
They clearly used it to kidnap Ritsu
どこかに逃げていったんだ。
and escape to his
絵面を
hideout.
想像すると滑稽なんだけれど、なんていうか、笑うに笑えない感じだな。
As funny as the Musha swimming sounds, I'm having trouble laughing.
どんなやつなんだろうね。
I wonder what kind of person he is.
地元の人間だな。
A local.
Eh?
What? Izukawa's response takes Tadayasu by surprise. His statement must have been purely rhetorical. If you're gonna make the assumption that they used this as a secret passage, yeah, they're probably local.
地元民だ。他に考えようがあるか？それも古くからの。少なくとも10年以上。
It would have to be a
田中
local.
のじい様がここへ移り住む前からこの近辺にいて、ここ
Izukawa
を遊び場
continues,
にしていた人間。
looking Tadayasu in the eye. And one who's lived here a long time, more than 10 years, he'd need to have the run of the woods before old Tanaka moved in.
でなければ、こんな水路のことを知っているはずがない。
Otherwise, there's no way he'd know about this passage. Tadayasu averts his eyes and looks troubled, not a common expression for him. The kidnapper's a local, and in other words, someone we might know. Anyone who'd join Rokuhara can't be the decent sort. He's probably a Nogiyama man or someone in the same line of work. I don't know why you didn't even consider the possibility that the yakuza were involved in human trafficking. In fact, let's Google that right now. Yep. I was like, is that a thing? And it took like 2 seconds to get a result that was yes. Yes, the answer is yes. That is one of the things they did. Alright, well. Now, there's your answer. That didn't even take that long. It's like, do the Yakuza do human trafficking of any sort? Yup. I mean, it was a reasonable assumption for me to say yes. But I should Google it before I say absolutely they do this. So none of that changes the fact he's from Kamakura. Though not a friend, he's still the same breed, you could say. Yep, still a thing. Until now, Rokuhara has been a faceless enemy in my mind, a simple image against which I could direct my hate. I don't know if they're currently involved in it, but it's probably harder to tell what they're currently doing. If you knew, you'd probably stop them. Maybe. But what if the enemy has a face, the face of someone I
ど
know?
こに通じてるのかな
Where does it go?
これ。
Natsu speaks up, her gaze focused on the dark river as though she didn't hear what Suzukawa said. Small chance of
ああそうだな銭洗弁天じゃないのか
that. Zenira Benten Shrine?
下流は多分そうだね。けどあんなところに出たら人目につかないわけがないよ。
Downstream probably, but there's no way he could come out there and not be seen. Tadayasu and I follow Kanatsu's lead. Suzukawa drops the topic, not wanting to depress us.
では上流か。
So he went upstream.
どこから
He
流
says,
れてきている
looking at
か
the slope.
大体の察しはつく。
I have an idea where it's coming from.
源氏山の頂上ですか？
Top of Mount Genjiyama?
だとは思うが、 そんなところへ出ても接近詰めだろう。そこまで行く前にここと似たような場所があるはずだ。
Probably, but there's no place to hide up there. There must be another opening like this before the top.
それは
But where?
心当たりはある。
I
行
have
く
a
ぞ。
hunch. Let's go. Suzukawa takes the lead, his expression tense, and no wonder. We're finally within sight of whoever took Ritsu. I mean, they're at least exploring this bamboo forest. I know it's been like 5-6 days, but it's taken them so long to get to actually looking into the forest. No one needs to tell me the danger we're facing. My hands are sweaty and my knees are shaking. Wasn't there something someone said? Words that gave me strength?
行こう、ユヒ。
Yuhi, let's go.
あ
Yeah. Before I can remember what those words are, the four of us set out on the road up the mountain. And ahead, I'm certain, is the end of the line. Well, as much certainty as he can have.
ミド
Mito.
ミド聞こえている
Mito? Mito, are you there? Looks like our tracker, the Tsurugi, we think, has noticed that. Through the trees, we can see a level shelf jutting out from the mountain, and there, in the middle of the clearing, stands a dilapidated wooden structure.
立ち入り禁止区画って書いてあるな。
There's a no trespassing sign,
それにしては警備員もいないね。
but I don't see any guards.
警備なんかしなくたってこんなとこ誰もわざわざ来ないでしょう。
It's not like anyone's gonna come all the way out here. True, to reach this place, we had to trek up steep mountain paths, the remnants of what were once functioning roads. I can't imagine anyone hiking all this way for fun.
先生、ここなんですか
Is this the place?
ああ、あっちに。
Yeah, over there. He points at the face of the mountain.
竹林にあったのと同じような地下水脈が地表に現れている場所がある。
There's a crack where the underground river meets the surface, just like the bamboo grove.
は
I can't see anything from here, although if I strain to listen, I can catch a faint sound that could be running water.
あ。で、あの建物は一体
What's that building?
学校みたいに見えますけど。
Looks kind of like a school.
それにしては小さくない？
Isn't that a little small?
だな。長屋じゃないのか
Are you sure it's not a regular house?
いや、稲城の言う通りだ。校舎だよ。うちの学校の校舎だ。
No, Inagi's right. It's a school. Our school.
そうなんですか
I've never heard of this place.
ずっと昔の話だがな。
Well,
今の
it
場所に移
was.
転する前はこ
A
こにあ
long
った
time
んだ。
ago, before the school moved to where it is now.
なるほど。
Oh. Why do you have an
そうい
abandoned
えば
school
以
in
前
the...
そんな話をどっかで小耳に挟んだような気が。
I remember hearing something about that.
全然しない。
Or not. Why did you have a school up in the mountains instead of a school that's centralized? I guess it could have been for the outlying students, a small school.
なら言う
Then keep it to yourself.
先生が子供の頃の話だからな。知らなくて当然だ。
This was back when I was a student myself. I'm not surprised you don't know.
よく今まで残ってましたね。
I can't believe it's still
経
standing.
費はかかるが、利益のない撤去作業を誰もやりたがらなかったというだけのことだろう。もう皆、ここに校舎があることなど忘れた。
I'm sure no one wanted to pay to have it demolished when there was nothing to put it in its place. Everyone just forgot about it. It'll stand here like this,
い
abandoned,
つか自然に崩れ落ちるまで。
until nature finally reclaims it. From Suzukawa's expression, it's hard to tell how he feels about the ruin of his old school. There's emotion here, but before I can discern its nature, he starts down the hill to the derelict building. Yes, I suppose there won't be any mass shootings at a school in the mountains. There also won't be that many students there.
ちょっと先生、危ないっすよ
Is it dangerous? The building's been abandoned for decades. The roof might collapse at any moment, which is probably why this no trespassing sign is there. No, the no trespassing sign is there because that's normally what they do for the entire lot of a building. That doesn't have anyone in there. The government owns it. They would clearly post a no trespassing sign. I remember when schools had CS tournaments instead of mass shootings. I wasn't even aware that schools had CS tournaments, Counter-Strike tournaments at all. My school certainly didn't. But that's only a minor concern. Suzukawa's guess is right, the kidnapper might be using the building to store his victims. I doubt he lives here, but you never know. Either way, waltzing in unprepared can't be the smartest plan. Suzukawa, however, ignores my warning and approaches the building. The three of us exchange worried looks, and after a few seconds, though, Tadayasu shrugs and heads after Suzukawa. Konatsu and I follow close behind. Guess there's no turning back now. Upon setting foot inside the old school, the smell of dust, mold, and rotting timber surrounds me. These I was prepared for. They're what you always get when you enter an old, unused building. But this stench, the rotten, pervasive stink that drowns out all others. What is it? I've smelled it before, and often at home, at school, sometimes by the roadside. Little by little, my eyes grow accustomed to the dim light. Classroom?
教室
Hey, it's the classroom. The abandoned classroom we saw a while ago. That's how the room appears. There's no chairs or desks. They were probably taken when the school was closed. But if there were, this room could pass as a functional, if decrepit, classroom. I don't see Suzukawa anywhere, but there are 4 large boxes sitting where the lectern would be, as though to fill in for our teacher. Why are there 4 boxes? The stench seems to be coming from there. It's the smell of many things rotting, like a landfill, maybe.
なんだろうね。
What are those?
ゴミ箱かな。
Trash boxes?
始末してけよそんく
Could have
ら
at
い
least thrown them out.
水の匂いが混じってるような気もするけど。
I think I smell water too.
じゃあ水槽
Water tanks? So is there gonna be dead bodies in these?
金魚でも飼ってたのか
Were they keeping goldfish or something?
さてね。
Who
ま
knows?
開けてみればわかると思うよ。
I guess we'll find out when we open them. No shit, we're standing here chatting because we don't want to see what's inside. The only good things that smell bad are cut grass, cheese, and durians. By and large, anything that stinks is likely to be unpleasant. Oh, it's Suzukawa, elsewhere and wandering around. A poor idea. Investigating the smell is our only proactive option. Just standing here isn't going to make us feel any better. Well, open him up. Fine, I'll take one for the team. I creep up to the row of boxes, half expecting a horde of rats or something to burst out the second I approach. The boxes are plastic, the cover is unlocked. It looks like they'll lift right off. Shit, I tap the side of each box timidly. I hear a soft sloshing. Tadayasu's nose was right on the money. I let my fingers set my fingers under the lid and take a deep breath, holding it and throw the box open. Inside, I find about the last thing I expected.
Yuhi.
Yuhi?
なん
What is
な
it?
の
Konatsu and Tadayasu are pinching their noses, ready for whatever horrible thing I might uncover. Sorry to disappoint.
花だ
Flowers?
は
What?
だから花
It's flowers. A box of flowers? What the hell? The box is full to the brim with water and flower petals cover the surface. The flowers are purple cosmos, the sort you can find growing anywhere.
花ってなんでそんなのがわざわざ箱に収まってるのよ
What, flowers? Why would someone stuff flowers in a box?
俺が聞きたい
That's what I want to know. They approach, still pinching their noses as if they don't believe me. I've just about reached the limit of holding my breath. I inhale slowly and carefully. And the first thing I smell is some kind of chemical. This isn't just regular water? And then I nearly pass out right there. The hell is this smell? It stinks to high heaven. No, it's worse than that. How can I describe it? It's violence, pure olfactory violence, assaulting my nostrils like a physical blow. The stench is so terrible, so unimaginably putrid, that for an instant my mind was unable to register it, just like when you touch a boiling kettle and it takes a second to scream. I've never smelled anything like this before. I have. Which is it? I don't know this smell, but I know what it means. It means... The stench must have shorted out my brain. The world tilts beneath my feet. My falling body flails for purchase and my hand catches the edge of the box. It topples, spilling its contents across the floor. How big are these boxes? Now I'm confused how big these boxes are. Like, the box looks waist high from here. If that is a box filled to the brim with water, There is no way you tip that over accidentally. That would weigh like 3 times as much as you do. Easy. That's like I think a cubic meter of water. How much does a cubic meter of water weigh? Weight, cubic meter, water. A cubic meter of water has a mass of 1,000 kilograms. If you can accidentally rotate a 1,000-kilogram cube, I'm just gonna be impressed, okay? That is fucking heavy. The center of mass is nicely spread. Yeah, it's a cube. The center of mass is in the dead center. Actually, this one would be the box. The box has partially empty. It would be lower than the center. It would be like lower than the center, right? It would have a low center of gravity. It would not be easy to spill. I guess it would be partially empty, so it'd be easier to tip over, right? Would that work? I don't fucking know. Anyway. The important thing is I don't think it's reasonable that you would actually spill this, but that's fine. It comes like a tidal wave washing over me. What's that? Flowers, water, and something else. What's that? It's okay. This character's a little bit slow. It'll take him a couple minutes to recognize anything. Uniform? A uniform. A school uniform. Our school. Girls' uniform. I recognize it, of course. It's from our school. That's not why. And then a bag. A school bag. And hanging from the strap is part of a dolphin. Hinatsu is shouting something. Shut up, will you? Can't you see I'm trying to think? Our character is so stupid. Oh my goodness. Where was I? Right, a uniform. A uniform and a school bag. And what else is there? There's something inside the uniform. What's that? Who's this asshole waving his hands in front of my face? I'm trying to see here. Tadayasu? No, he's sitting on the floor over there. The hell are you doing? You're gonna get your ass dirty. I can't see, damn it. Whose hands are these? Oh, they're my hands. Out of my way, hands. I'm trying to see here. Now you're fucking with me too. Neck, stop turning away. Look at it, man. There's something there. What is it? A uniform, and inside the uniform? Something splashes across this thing. Is it puke? Who did this? Get a hold of yourself. The puke doesn't change how it looks much, though. It was pretty nasty to begin with. All black and pink and white and gray. There's an awful lot of gray, but despite all the colors, I recognize it. It still has the same shape. So I can tell it's a person. A person I know. I've been looking for you. There you are. It's you, right? Right. Say something. Ritsu. The dolphin has no head. Well, that was like the most delayed reaction ever. I don't feel like... Okay, that was an interesting reveal, but I do not think it was very subtle for the reader. And it was like very dragged out where I'm like, okay. Our character is still making light of everything, which is kind of annoying. And then he screams, and you're like, okay, well, it happened. We discovered her body, maybe? I mean, that was the obvious conclusion we came to when we saw boxes that smell absolutely vile, and he's like, oh, there's flowers in here. That doesn't make sense. Though why he spilled the whole thing all over the ground, I have no clue. Interesting reveal, though. Okay. She's a dolphin now? Maybe. Well, rest in peace, Ritsu. Not like we had too much faith she was still alive. But there it is. Unfortunately, it is getting quite late now, so this will be our cliffhanger. We don't know what happened. We don't know who's gonna reprimand our protagonist for being this stupid. But bootleg Luvia ain't coming back. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.